Practice Podcast, where we cover the only sport in the world where there is no practice. With your mini rod driving host, Adam Kester, Tyler Slaw, and Chase Richardson. Strap in for some debates on the world of pulling, exclusive special guests, and a whole lot of nonsense BS. The No Practice Podcast starts now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, September the 10th, and this is the No Practice Podcast, episode number 47. I'm here, Adam Kester, with my two colleagues, Chase Richardson and Tyler Slaw. How's it going, guys?
It's good to be back, gentlemen. It's good to be back.
What a statement on your behalf to crack one open as the show starts. Welcome back, episode 47. It's hard to believe it's been that many. They all run together, but always look forward to every other Wednesday. So we're back again, and cheers to almost what we'll call the end of the summer pulling season. Got one more big week ahead that we're going to talk about.
Yes, big week ahead, and we just got Adam and I got done doing some pulling this past weekend as well. It was a good time. Always good. It probably felt like a vacation for Adam, as he only took 2 tractors instead of 3. How was that, Adam?
It was so good that I think from Friday to Saturday, the only thing I did was change spark plugs. I didn't look at oil filters. I didn't sharpen tires. I didn't do anything because I thought if I can't make 2 and it's the end of the year, then it doesn't matter.
You didn't check valves or anything?
Nope.
Well,
no oil filters, no valves. I did change a set of tires, which ended up being bonehead move of the day. But no, it was kind of relaxing, actually.
It's amazing how the perspective of you as a puller changes in September versus May when it, all the downtime and stuff ahead for the summer. You probably wouldn't have done that in May, would you have, Adam? Or I'd say we probably all have a little different mentality going to a pull earlier in the year than later in the year.
Yeah, I think it all crosses your mind at some point in time. Like you wake up and just don't want to do it. But I was like, you know what? The hell with it. Why not? You know. You did. The guys at Women, they were like, I can't believe you're not looking at anything, you're not doing anything. It's like, nope, not doing anything. We rolled them out of the trailer. I gapped some new spark plugs, which I really didn't even need to do that either. But I've just been on that kick all year, and that's kind of nice. I didn't know what to do with myself all afternoon. I did go with some friends and check out the Blue Room, which is a fine establishment. It was a nice. Beautiful day. The weather was phenomenal last weekend in Nashville. We dodged some rain on Friday night, and Saturday was about as nice as you can ask for.
I would we do this show because we have fun. We want to bring smiles and fun and stuff that people look forward to in the world we live in, and obviously we do it to promote a sport we love, but I just feel like we need to we don't get into politics, but the events that happened today in Utah, it's just a crazy world we live in. And I don't normally watch the news, but I watched it today. That probably it's a bad idea, but that's a heartbreaking situation. So I just want to start the show by saying thoughts and prayers to our country and all those involved. That was quite the scene, and I guess we're not used to opening our phones up and seeing this stuff right in front of you. It hits home. So
yeah, we're in the politics of pulling talk. So we'll talk a little bit about pulling. Makes you put in perspective about when you talk about the world politics and our country's politics, and it's pretty sad that you can't even voice your own opinion about certain things. So definitely throw out some prayers with his family, and man, it kind of hits you at a certain point. It's like, man, life is so crazy. I wasn't expecting to pull a social media platform up and saw what I saw, but I didn't want to see it again. I can tell you that.
No, it's
to say the least.
I think all three of us said the same thing. It's bad stuff happens in the world every single day that none of us ever hear nor see. But I guess when something's thrown in right in front of you, then I think all three of us had the same thought. Like, man, I just wish I didn't have to look at that stuff. But anyway, shitty deal. And, tomorrow being 9/11 is just seems like it's just wanted to say something as we get going the show. But Adam, you have so you guys were in Nashville, Illinois last weekend. That was the last Pro Pulling League event. You guys, I think both, I was not there. You said it was quite the track and really put the mini rods on edge. Mind to indulge for myself because I haven't even talked to either one of you about, and also the fans.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the whole idea was Brad Holzhauer he came over the trailer and he says, I think he really likes the mini rod class because he's like, I'm building this track for mini rods. And the amount of water that was in it was a lot. Some may say too much, but wow, was it phenomenal. I was first took. I was scared to death to push the throttle forward, but man, it took off and went really good. Just to see across the board, like I talked to a lot of people from different classes, the limited pros and even the two-wheelers, which is pretty odd for all of us. But I heard a comment that it took almost as much front end weight as Farley did, which is a pretty good statement for a two-wheel drive. But yeah, I mean, great. Got to give it to Brad Holzhauer. I mean, that's a awesome venue, and he's trying really hard. And I'm just glad that it's really close to my house, so it was good for me to get to go there and to not have to worry about anything. There's no points. It doesn't even matter how you finish, but we just wanted to finish the year strong. And I think we finished second and sixth and fourth and sixth. So I was pretty happy with the weekend. I bought 55-gallon drum of fuel to go to there in the Enderly, and I think we ended up burning about 25-gallon of it in our little stainless tank that we had outside. So it was a pretty good time.
Yeah, I feel like nowadays Adam probably burns more methanol at his trailer after the pull than what he does on the track. Anybody that knows and has been to some events, they just see this what looks like a little homeless person camp gathered around various trailers, and Adam isn't the only one. And yeah, whether it be a keg with the top cut off at the Nelsons or Adam with his tray, there's methanol burning pretty much from the start of the pull till about sometimes 4 a.m. So
Adam runs it as lean after midnight as you do during the pull at the pit, right?
Yeah.
after midnight, when the fuel burns in Adam's pit, you burn on the track though, right, Tyler?
Well, we try to, but this past weekend we had a pretty horrible outing to end our point season. We went into the last pull thinking, things would have to fall into our favor, but it's possible because we were only 10 points, which is 5 positions behind the points leader. And so you kind of go in there being like, it's unlikely, but we've got a chance. And just horrible. I couldn't get the power down good with Bruce's, had to back out of the run on Friday. And my damn fuel pump on my tractor, it uses this little hex adapter to drive the fuel pump out the front of the cam hub. And that little fella scooched on back. So it wasn't even driving my fuel pump, but it was just enough to get the pump to idle based on like friction in the two ends butting up against each other. And so it would sit there and idle. We could put heat in it. It would drive out onto the track. And as soon as you would come with the throttle, it would just and die. So that was a little disappointing. So we got that fixed on Saturday. And on Saturday, I ended up going out there with my dad's tractor and absolutely just scattered the rods out onto the track, which is always disappointing. It was only like the 6th pass on that set of rods, but in all fairness, I had a pretty bad over rev at our local pull. So yeah, pretty horrible show.
You think that was a direct effect from that run you showed us, the fans, the last show on the race pack, the data on the show?
It's possible, but what I'd like to speculate the case is we were running a little lean on methanol, and so we borrowed 5 gallons of methanol from the Nelsons. And everybody knows Yeah, everybody knows how strong the Nelsons run. I'm not so sure that they didn't have some hot fuel there that they snuck under the nose of Mr. Richwine, and Bruce's poor motor just couldn't handle whatever that fuel was infused with, and it just scattered the internals right out onto the track. It was funny though, because I was test hook with that tractor, and so obviously you have the opportunity to drop, and everybody knew that it quit running before I made a nice pass. So the flag person comes up to me, Jerry, and I'm sure he knew what happened at that point. But I looked down and I got out of the tractor. I said, Jerry, even though we didn't go that far, I said, I think I am actually going to take that run. I'm not going to opt to drop and come back at the end of the class. And he just kind of looks at me like, oh, okay. As there's 5 gallons of oil underneath of the pulling tractor.
Did they say it was mechanical, Tyler?
Well, yeah, it was a mechanical chase. So I would have had the option to drop if I'd have gotten out of it before 100 foot, but that's just how that goes. So
rewinding to an episode a few months back, and I do have my hair face again. We heckled the mechanical versus what is it? Mechanical? If it's not mechanical, what is it? Driver error? Like what's
it's called you can drop if you tear something up, but if you don't, you have to go right now.
Yeah.
Well,
so
for example, on Friday night with my fuel pump, when I was hooked to the sled and I tried giving it the throttle, and everybody could see that the engine kind of revved up and then came back down to an idle, even though I'm sitting there with the throttle at like 30%, and then it kind of jumped back up RPM wise, and then it died. And they did allow me to drop 6, which happened to be at the end because I had a mechanical failure. But as Chase was going to say, had I just simply screwed up driving and backed out of it inside of 100 foot, Mears would have given me the old ha-ta-ta-ta-ta. You can come back, but you have to run right now, which also happened to Adam, right?
Oh, yeah. Sure did.
Yep.
I thought I was going to be mischievous with it. I saw on Saturday everybody was going off to the left, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prepare myself to go left, which my tractors go straight, so I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I decided to point the sled a little bit to the right line, and it did. It went straight towards the line, and I hit the brake just a little bit too hard, and I decided to abort the run before it got really ugly, and I thought, man, I'll just go back and I'll be able to. No, you ain't going back. You're going back right now. So
that's right.
Same spot. Can't move the sled. Can't anything. So I immediately went back and dropped the hitch a little bit more and just tried to save what I could. Now I wish I had it back. I would have just left everything alone and just drove a little bit different. But it's part of it, I wasn't the only one that happened to, so
I took the blame, Adam, for the rules being enforced for you, because I wasn't on the right end of that myself, and
I should have said, "Damn, lost oil pressure. I need to go back and check that out."
Yeah, but anyway,
just goes to show you that don't try to be smarter than track. I mean, I was trying to angle it towards the side there, and tractor went straight for sure. So it's dumb bonehead decision.
Backing up to our last episode, that was a fun-packed episode 46. We were going into I think it was Labor Day weekend, the Wasion, Ohio event. Adam, you came out of there going into this last week. I think, did you finish second that night, if I'm not mistaken?
No, I finished third, fourth, and ninth. Okay. So we were able to. Yeah. Goes to show that if you have a little bit more air in the tires, it does help. I didn't go where I wanted to go with it, but I was also nervous to what would happen if you changed it that much. So very thrilled with the result there. Of course, would have liked to won the thing, but I mean, me and Adam Bauer almost went exactly the same distance. I think he went like 0.02 further than me. I don't even know how, a quarter of an inch maybe what that is. So carrying, we went into that pool 3 points out of first place, left 3 points ahead. So definitely going to make for an interesting Enderly.
Yes. What's that points breakdown for the mini rods going into the Enderle?
So I'm in the lead. So Jeff Hurt and Adam Bauer tied for second, 3 back, and then Lindsey Campbell's 5 back, and I think Ken Vinny's like, I don't know, 12 or 15. I didn't even realize what his was. So it's a 3-horse race. There we go, 18 back, yeah. So
and I know we've talked about it previously, Adam, but just as a reminder for those, the Enderly format is still a top 5 finishers, but it is a points hook. So previously champions are crowned going into Enderly, but anything less than a 4-point lead is not solidified. And I think this is one of the 4 classes that are going to be decided this week. Probably the most jam-packed at the top is the mini rod. It's going to be must-watch TV and a ton of fun to sit back and spectate on. Adam, as long as you get a top 3, you win, right? That's there's no way other way to skin it.
I'd hope so.
Now, but if you get a third, you're in, right?
Yeah, see that one little notch there in front of Jeff. I guess if we were to come up tied, and no, if I won, it wouldn't matter. So
yeah,
there's a tiebreaker there. I guess that's what they go off of, wins. I don't
Yes.
really know.
Yeah, the tiebreaker is whoever had more first place finishes throughout the Grand National.
Yeah.
And if you're tied on first, then it goes to second, thirds, and so on from there. So I know there was some
I wonder how that works in with that. Did we all get first place finishes for the Chapel Hill debacle?
Oh.
Was Little Bear? That was one of the pull-off tractors that night, wasn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a interesting thought. I didn't know that, but I think you do get first place with that, but I don't think none of that scenario.
The points were split at 20. I think we got 28.
Yeah, but it's a tie for first, so you would think.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you win, it doesn't matter anyway. So
yeah,
third place or better is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of hated this Enderly format, I feel like it got some hatred anyway when it came out, but I must say it does bring some excitement to the table that wouldn't have been there in years past. So as a consumer of the sport, watching it, I'm kind of a fan from that standpoint.
So
what do you guys think?
We don't want to do what NHRA does and have like a regular season points champion. This is the dumbest shit I ever heard of. You see that?
Better watch it. You might get a positivity check on that.
No, I don't know. What is there? So Tony Sturr's not even the real champion?
No, he's a regular season points champion.
I didn't know that. Well, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. That's the second dumbest thing I've ever heard. The first thing you said it first, I said it second. So I'm not a fan of those gimmick point system personally, but that's just my personal preference. So the mini rod class is obviously one to note. Modified tractors, I believe Brandon Simon has a 4-point lead over second place. If I'm not mistaken. That's another tight one. Anything above a 4th place finish in his situation, he's going to win out. Yeah, there we go. 4. So the only one Simon says in Dirt Slinger.
Well, if you really think about it, if Brandon finishes last and Dirt Slinger wins, that puts them tied, but the wins go to Simon.
Yeah, so they have it locked up. You are right.
Yeah, so if you really think about it, it's locked up.
It is locked because a tiebreaker. Yeah,
I know they said differently, doing that, but if you do the math on that one in particular, Simon's got more wins. So
Adam.
So what if you don't? So there needs to be some clarity of this. And it would be pulling's luck that this would probably play out. But okay, a guy that goes in there, if you're at a pulling event, Adam, you probably entire comment on this. If you are at the starting line and you can't get your tractor to go in gear, go on the track, do you get 15 points automatically, or do you get the highest, or do you get last?
No,
place?
you'd get 5th place points.
You would get 5th place. So
because you hook to the sled.
Tech and scales, you're locked in for 5th.
Well, do you have to hook to the sled, Adam?
That's what I.
You know what?
Somebody better clarify that at the Enderly, because I could see that.
Marvin's going to be challenged.
No, I think you do have to hook the sled. I'm not sure.
There
was a point in time that if you entered the event that you were going to get points. But
yes,
I think
you get your 15 if you.
But
enter
here's
and pass
the
back,
other side of it. If you really want to boil it down,
right?
so there was a thing here a couple years back where these super stock diesels would break on Friday night of a 2-day hook, and they would be thrashing all night long. You know, they're out there polishing the crankshaft, trying to put bearings in to bump the sled.
Yeah.
And guys were arguing and complaining, like, "Hey, would you give us a day? Like, we're there, we're broke. We would like a day to get home to start working on it because you want us to be pulling next weekend or in the middle of the week or whenever it is." So they kind of allowed that to happen. But now it's like, oh, you know, where do you draw the line at?
Maybe we should we cold call Marvin on this show to get some clarity, because none of us really know the answer. What brought this up, I guess this is not funny, but it's probably not something you want to share, but our 2-wheel drive, I guess on paper, is clinched the championship, but a guy on our team said, if I slash the tires, you don't make it to the start line, you ain't clinched shit. So
should I attempt a cold call to Marvin Epperson to see if he'll pick up an answer?
Yeah, I think that's what the fans would. We all have our own opinion, but I would be afraid that if you don't get to the track, you get 15 points. I hope he hits the FU button.
Tick, 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 tick,
NPP.
Hey, Marv, this is Tyler. How are you doing?
Really good.
We had a question, if you have a moment. At the Enderly, we've got you live on the podcast here, Marvin. I hope that's acceptable to you. I should start by saying that. Is that okay, Marv? Okay, sorry to waste your time. At the Enderly, if somebody is unable to hook to the sled, will they receive 5th place in points, or will they simply receive the standard 15 points, and therefore, you know, you can have that large of a change up? Like, do they have to hook to the sled to get the 5th place in points?
It hadn't been discussed yet, but I'm going to say yes.
They do have to hook to the sled. Okay, because we're just kind of breaking down the you know, huge flip-flops that theoretically could take place, and that kind of organically came up. Like, man, what happens if somebody, you know, breaks driveline when they fire up to drive out onto the track and they can't even move the sled 1 inch? You know, do they get that 5th place points, or do they only get their 15 points for showing up? So you're thinking they have to move the sled at least 1 inch to get that last place points?
I would think they got to get the chain tied anyway, but like I said, that's going to be discussed here tomorrow.
Okay.
To finalize, but you know, to make it legit, make everybody at least be here and at least make an attempt. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely, sir. All right. Well, I don't want to waste too much more of your time, and I can't thank you enough for answering the phone, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Guys, how about that? He answered. Props to Marvin.
Hey, Chase, I think I would go. I think I'd have your truck sitting at the starting line.
I need to hire some freaking security to stand beside it, like the guys with the yellow jackets, to keep Donald from fucking with it. Dude, what if you can't pull in the track? Like, what if like you get in it and they don't go in gear? I guess.
Well, you just heard. I mean, it's going to be discussed, but it kind of sounds to me like we just kind of got to the bottom of it with the man himself.
What is it? What is this? What is this, Chase? What is this?
What?
Chase interrupts. No marks.
Oh, yeah.
Adam positivity check. What's this?
Yeah, I had to, you know, we've been getting
Well,
some...
you know what? I'm going to give you another check real quick on there because, you know, just like most of the year, they're just making the shit up as they go.
Oh, Adam, you're going to have to cut that off right there. That's another positivity check. We've gotten some complaints from behind the scenes, Adam, that your positivity is lacking.
I think it needs to be the Adam positivity meter. Like, it's like a meter that goes up and down.
No, we're going to keep this boy in check, Chase. I tell you what.
Regardless, so it sounds like tune in because there's some things. This is obviously a new concept, but my initial reaction is if you can't hook the sled, you get 15 points. But I guess we'll to be determined when we get on site. And then also the drawing system, they are doing a live draw Friday night, 7 p.m. Where historically you go in points order and you select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This year will
Hey,
be
just real quick. I don't mean to interrupt it again, but can you pull up those pro stock points real quick, if you don't mind, backstage? Just if you can, real quick. I got a really quick question on something. I think it has to do with points.
Okay, we're looking for some
Because
pro
the
stock
whole
points here.
purpose of what they're doing is trying to get people to show up to this poll. And I'm not saying
Well-
that this team would do this or not, but what's the? It's up there in the corner. I can't see. What does it say?
can't see either.
Loud and heavy has
43
455.
points. So theoretically, they wouldn't even have to show up, right?
Well, someone had told me that the
30, right?
Simons were the ones who pushed for this rule because they were sick of people not showing up to Enderly. So I would think, if anything, the Simons will be there.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. I think they'd be there, but even if they didn't show up, you couldn't make up the points.
You can't. There's no way mathematically you can catch them.
Now, that is true.
Exactly.
Loud and Heavy does not have to show up at the Enderly. Are you saying, Adam, that may happen?
No. I didn't say that was going to happen. I have total belief that they will drag their stuff 8-9 hours to get there.
But Adam, hang on, Adam. Are you Loud and Heavy wouldn't? So it has a 43-point lead on.
You only get 30 points.
No, I think that's it has a 17-point lead on second.
No. Oh, what are we doing here? When did we start taking the points from fifth?
Yeah. So no, that was to get to the Enderly. That's a misleading graphic right there.
That's a misleading one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I apologize. Maybe I'm not right there on that, but just saying.
At first reaction, I'm like, that doesn't. I think they were 43 points ahead of fifth, but we could probably backstage.
That's weird. When do you? I mean, to go to the Enderly, I understand that, but when do we start counting from fifth place points? I mean,
I think that graphic specifically that she pulled was for Enderly qualifiers, not points.
Yeah, that looked like some strange Chase Richardson math to me.
That's different than the one we were looking at. There we go.
Okay, so 17.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Call Marvin back and ask him why he put that graphic up.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to call Marvin. I feel like if I abuse cold calling Marvin on the phone, he won't answer me. I'm very impressed he answered that one. I was almost starstruck on the phone.
Marvin's been really good this year.
Yeah.
We should have asked him how long. We should have asked him how long the track's going to be at the Enderly.
Now, Adam, you looking for another check mark? You watch that mouth now.
So Friday night, Enderly, all 13 Grand National classes are going to do the bowl or roll the balls, hand the ball out, random draw of 1 through 5. So that'll be interesting. There's no such thing as a bad setup or a bad number, or just bad combinations, right? Or no, I didn't say that the correct way. But typically the number one draw seems to be a good number at this pool. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
For sure. I'm looking forward to it. And I hear there's a bit of a flip-flop. We've got the Grand National pulling first, followed by the region classes, which in years past, it's always been region first, then Grand National. So it should be interesting.
Yep.
One real quick thing here. I didn't bring it up earlier when we were talking about it. Kenzie, if you could bring that picture up that I asked for you, maybe I can get a little explanation. I think this is going to be Tyler if something drastic happens at the Enderly. What is this, Tyler?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I didn't know you had that. So
he can't be trusted.
Kind of catching me off guard here. So the weekend after our last
is that a
show,
snow angel?
Yeah, well, I'm making snow angels in the bar. So the weekend after our last pull, while you guys, or our last show, I should say, sorry, while you guys were off tractor pulling, we took our boats Saturday morning across Lake Michigan, which I had said I was going to do last show. And I don't have a fancy boat. I bought it for a couple $1,000. It's a 80s unit. And there she is in the Port Washington Marina in Wisconsin. And so we were really hyping this up like it was going to be a big deal. But me and my buddy Blake in my boat and my girlfriend Courtney rode with my father Bruce in his boat and my buddy Corey and buddy Evan in his boat. The three of us just headed out of Grand Haven and went 90 miles across the big lake to Wisconsin, and that was a pretty cool experience. And needless to say, we were all so excited. We drank like children on our 21st birthday. And so that picture that Adam just shared, yes, there we are, starting the day out with some cocktails before noon, which is always a great combination. And
Did you say noon or 9?
It was before noon that we started drinking. But you know what was before 9, Adam, was the time in which I went to bed that evening, because I was in bed by 8:30 at night. And that may not sound too good, but my father, Farmer Bruce, was in bed by 7:30 at night. So that picture is a picture that one of my friends took of me after I fell backwards out of a bar stool and landed on the floor in the bar. So I didn't just lay there hopelessly, though. I laughed and instantly got up. So don't make it worse than what it seems. But, maybe that's why my shoulder hurts me a little bit. So, yeah, I'm
Sorry,
sure
I had to bring that up. I didn't want to rub salt in the wound. I think myself, I went to the lake, and I think I was in bed before 8 o'clock too. One night. I woke up and I looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go to bed. It's 10:30." Then I looked outside and it was dark, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's still dark."
Yeah, it's kind of a good feeling. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, the morning after, and yeah, we fired up the boats and we drove back across the big lake, and it was a pretty good time. So I would highly recommend anybody, if you have the opportunity, take a boat across Lake Michigan. It took us 2.5, 3 hours, but I will say it's pretty odd when you were in the middle of the lake, and for probably an hour and a half, you can see nothing around you but water. So you can't see where you're going. You can't see where you're driving away from. Like, you're moving, you got the wind in your hair, but it almost feels like you're standing still, because you're not getting any closer to anything. You're not getting any further away from anything. It almost feels like you're standing still, but we couldn't have gotten luckier weather-wise, and it was a pretty fun experience. But you just got to watch those bars in Wisconsin. You get all excited, and you maybe overindulge by about a beer or two. So
sorry to derail the whole pulling conversation for that. I didn't know when a good time was, but I just figured that's the kind of reaction you get if something happens at the Enderly that we're not expecting.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. Everybody knows I came out with those teeny tiny little fenders. I'm predicting a new fender rule for competition year 2026 of how much tire the fender needs to cover and able to be legal. And all I ask is that hopefully they'll apply that to all classes, because I think they need to be careful, because albeit our fenders were small for the conventional mini rod fender, I feel like there's a lot of classes like your unlimited supers, your diesel supers, and things like that, where legitimately the percentage surface area of our tires were roughly the same amount of coverage as these large tractors. So I'll be very interested if they make a rule, if they say, no, this is mini rods only, guys. This is a safety deal.
If your last name's Slaw and you're from Michigan, this rule applies to you.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd better not run my mouth on that too much more. Adam might give me a positivity check. But
I was just going to tell you need to mark my name out and put your name on there.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to be positive. So
I
anyway,
gotta say this for the fans. Back to Adam's derailment of his content he brought to the show, that was hilarious. We have these moments when we're talking amongst ourselves where we always have a different backstage producer who does this for us, where one of the three of us will say, "Hey, I need to reach out to you directly. I got something I want to bring to the podcast." And the other two are nervous what's going to be brought up. So Adam,
I didn't want to do anything too radical now. Come on.
Adam, thanks for preserving me another 2 weeks. So because I'm sure you have.
No, we have way more ammo on you, Chase. It's fine.
Yeah, that was well played, Adam. But I don't think so. When I fell backwards out of my bar stool, it's possible that I may have spilled some alcohol. But I don't think I was the only one that spilled some alcohol in between now and our last show. And I believe that brings us to our first guest.
I wish there was practice. We have some guests tonight. Man, I wish there was practice. 2 shows in a row. Backstage roll it and bring on our guests.
The No Practice Podcast. Man, I wish there was a practice segment.
Oh my God!
So, Team Packrat joining us this evening. And guys, before we roll the footage tell us a little bit about yourselves, where you're from, and how your last pulling event went for you.
Pulling since 1985. Mainly running two-wheel drives. Last 4 or 5 years running the mod.
And myself, I've been pulling since before NTPA was NTPA. 58 years. I think it's 58 seasons this year in a row.
There's not
Only
too many
missed 3
people who can say that, I must say.
Only missed 3 pulls in my life that I was supposed to be at, in my mind.
Were the misses for good reasons?
Well, yeah, I don't want to go into labyrinths, but it was middle of the week and my kids were in school and didn't have any crew to go along, and I had to drive all the way to Espanaba, Michigan, and it was a 12-hour time before they got the Interstate 29 going, and so I decided to stay home. That was one, and the other one was a medical issue.
Understandable.
So we have Dennis, also known as Doc Christensen, Doug, to his right there, and the third. I assume that's our third generation of Christensen pulling team. Give us an intro on yourself.
I'm Tegan Moore. I'm his daughter's grandson, or his daughter's son. I've been pulling two-wheel drive for 5 years now.
Cool. And you guys campaign, is it 3 or 4 two-wheel drives?
4.
4, and then the modified tractor. I got to ask, how many different Packrats have there been? Because there's not a lot of teams. I think it's pretty cool, a Packrat, and then you number them off. How many total number of Packrats have been in existence?
We got 8.
8 total?
Yep.
Very good.
1, 2, and 3 are gone, and everything else is rest.
And the modified just Packrat, right?
4.
Correct. Oh, it's 4.
Packrat
Packrat 4. Okay. Very good. So obviously you guys took the internet by storm last weekend for reasons I'm sure you didn't want to take by storm. You guys have had a good season with the Packrat 4, with a couple of wins, if I'm not mistaken, and a couple of very good outings. We're going to show the video recap of what took place at Sandwich, Illinois last Saturday during the session 2, and you guys can kind of take us through what exactly happened. Obviously, the fireball is one thing, but a number of things took place there. And our backstage person, if you wouldn't mind rolling the feed for the Christensen Packrat team and let them give us their analogies on what transpired here, because anytime there's fire, it's a scary situation.
Definitely.
So, guys, tell us.
We went to this pull with the idea of trying to make 5th place in the mod class to make it to the Enderly, but so we took one of the two-wheeler motors, Big Chiefs, out and put it in the left front corner. And of course, we didn't have enough time to take the motor apart and look at it good. We just took it out of the truck and put it in the tractor, changed blowers, and I think it lost the rod basically out of the gate because couldn't handle the gear at all. And then once the rod cut the block almost in half, it sent this mist up in the air. Look at it for first, you'll see the mist come up. And then all of a sudden that lights. And then it blows the tanks up. And then it pukes methanol over everything. Of course, it's early in the run, so there's quite a bit left in the tank. And you can't see the two-wheel drives. We're seeing Tigan just runs by the front and gets fried for a couple of seconds.
Runs through the fire.
Runs right through the fire.
Yeah, the tank doesn't split on the bottom; it splits on the top. So
well, in our dumb luck that we built it had the tank spill, we put the breather in the left front corner, and both tanks hold around 12.5 to 13 gallons of fuel, and both of them blew out the front, which protects the driver in our best interest, at least. That's where the fire they couldn't put out is in the tank. They went through 5 stop fires, and then they ran out of them. And then they come
I mean, this is no laughing matter, but I mean, I'm not approaching that fire with a handheld fire extinguisher. I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, long story, the fire lasted 19 and a half minutes. They drug us off the track all the way back to the starting line, and then they went to call the fire department, shack up, and had them bring in CO2 fire extinguishers, 20-pounders. And as soon as they got to the starting line, we met them there, and then they blasted them and then put the fire out. But the small stop fires would put the fire out for a fraction of a second, and then would just relight again. So,
yeah,
that was.
I was watching there for a minute. Didn't they get they got the hoses out on it? Didn't they?
Yeah, they made a mess out of the track trying to cool it down, but because the water would just spread the methanol all over everything and relight it all.
Yeah.
They don't show this as only a short version of everything, but that's we must have been on the track for 12 to 15 minutes trying to put the fire out there, and then they finally decided, well, we'll just drag our ass off there and try to put the show back.
Is that a piston? Is that a piston that come out of it right there? Or, I mean, what is that?
Yeah, that's what I think, but we haven't pulled the motor apart to see what it looks like inside.
We sort of are bummed out over it, so we haven't taken the motor apart yet to find out what really went first. Anyway,
that's kind of a bad situation because they got the water hoses out on that and they continue to spray everything. So I think even your electrical stuff has got to be maybe.
Luckily with the computer stuff, that's all underneath the seat in the back, so that part will be okay. But
wiring,
mags and stuff, we gotta have to look at and see how bad that got it. They were spraying mostly down in the bottom of the frame, so that hopefully won't wreck that stuff.
Anyway, the motor is probably almost cut in half with the rods. So the rods were, I won't give you the brand name, but they were billet rods, and we found out that the billet rods this company used were from China, and it got a lot of foreign material in aluminum, so they overheat treat the rods, and then they turn into a piece of glass, I guess.
Oh yeah, say the brand name, Doc.
I don't want to cause any friction.
So for people watching this, obviously it's a very unfortunate situation, but the part that really probably stands out is the fuel tank exploding. From your all standpoint, what goes into that fuel tank dislodging like that to make that situation 10 times worse? Was it engine back?
My only concern is that we put enough pressure on it from the pullers accels that we get NTPA or somebody have 20-pound CO2 containers on the track site. So if you have a mini rod out there and it tips over for any stupid reason and bursts the tank and then catches on fire, he's only about 5 feet closer to the fuel tanks than we are.
Yes, some of us even closer than that, Doc.
Well, that's my concern, is that we put enough pressure on that they actually have CO2 containers at the pull site. As technology makes more horsepower, you're going to have more and more engine blows up, and the pressure on winning is always, so everybody's running close to the edge, and the air temperature for the last week and a half been quite cool, so a lot of guys miss their setup, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we can see that they got the hose out there going to town.
What a lot of people don't realize is methanol burns so cleanly that even though right now this tractor's sitting there and you really don't see flames, it burns so clear that there's quite a bit of fire.
You get within 5 feet of the tank and you could feel the heat up. You couldn't stand it.
Right.
Yeah,
I think they got our whip now.
So right here, you clearly, as an observer, you're like, well, guys, settle down. The fire's clearly out. There are no issues here. But as we all know, it continued to burn for extended time.
19 minutes is pretty crazy.
Well,
because
we watched the whole pull on full pull, and then 19 minutes goes by before the fire department comes with the CO2. So
after they drug us off the track.
Yeah, I saw they got you down there at the end, and they were still working on it. And look at the tank split just in the front and the top there.
So I mean,
Well, it wouldn't go out, so we were thinking about trying to drain the fuel off, but didn't have no containers to put it into. Because there was the fire when we got off the track, the main fire was still in the tanks itself, but it still had the front tank had 2 inches of fuel in it yet.
Yeah, you know,
that's
it's really crazy
trying to drain a tank while it's burning. Like,
yeah, I'll tell you this: we had a barn fire in like 1996 or 97. I was a pretty young kid, and they used to have alcohol in a 55-gallon drum, but it was a plastic drum. Well, when the building caught on fire, the drum was sitting outside, and it kind of poofed the top of it, and the plastic 55-gallon drum of fuel would burn, and it just kept going down and down, and it kept melting the top of because we all just talk about how we burn methanol at the trailers and stuff in a little pan and how long it burns for hours, 2 hours for, 5, depending on how you have your little pit set up, it'll burn for a long time. And it burned the drum down over like I think it was a whole day, just burning the drum down. So it's no joke. I mean, alcohol, it's very dangerous because whatever it gets to, it's gonna light. It's not as combustible as gasoline, but when you get fumes of it, it is. So
yeah, I can. And when it gets warm, then it turns into a vapor, so it's really hard to put out when it's got a lot of vapor in it, and the fuel is warm already. So how you want to say it, they just couldn't put it out with the small extinguishers at all.
Right.
And you can see if they blasted with the dry chemical, it just spread it.
Sure.
Yeah. In all your years of pulling, Doc, is this like the largest debacle you've been a part of from a carnage standpoint?
This is the only fire that we had that we've had little fires when you kick a rod out and it burned underneath a two-wheeler for about 30 seconds, but I never had one that burst a tank like this.
Understandable. Will you do anything different when you rebuild to try to prevent something like this happening, or is this basically
the breather hose is not going to be in the back between the tanks like we had them? We thought that was a pregnant idea, but it wasn't. Anyway, it's probably going to be going down the front or down the side, all the way up front, because everything is a scenario on engine blowups. You could try to protect yourself, but it seems like it always finds its own way.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, that's understandable. After pulling for so many years and with so many vehicles, what is the motivation to keep going? Because, you've got a 4-engine tractor, you've got 4 two-wheelers. Is it the competition? Is it the camaraderie with family? What keeps you coming back to this?
Competition and just love doing it.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that 90% of the people are going to be losers every time they go pulling.
Oh yeah, that's me, Doc, for sure.
We say 99% in this podcast. Thanks for putting it positive, Doc.
So when I play cards, I play to win. When I go in bowling, I play to win. So I'm a very competitive person. But I learned a long time ago that you got to get past the fact that you're going to lose in tractor pulling.
Yep. And this has been a family sport for you with, obviously your son there. And how many kids total have you had that's been involved in pulling, Doc?
When your kids turn 16, it's hard to say you have to come with. But if you build them a rig to drive, they'll come with without you asking.
There you go.
And that's how we got more than one, and that's how we got 3. And then, of course, when my son took over the driving deals, because he does a lot of work for keeping the tractor running, I'm getting old at the tooth. So my 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, them guys are still out there working until 10:30, trying to put everything back together. For when you got that many rigs, you got to look at them all. So we do spend every night of the week between pulls looking at something. Anyway, I might take a shortcut to the house.
Yeah, there you go. And you guys are based out of Minnesota, in the Glencoe area. Is that correct?
Yeah, 15 miles from Hutch.
15 miles from Hutch. So Hutch is based your hometown pull every year.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
I was involved with putting the purse with Ricky Rose for 15 years and putting that pull on. So anyway, it's a long story why we split up. So
Yeah. And then obviously the 2-wheel drives are more frequent pullers in terms of like availability to go run. You guys run the 2-wheel drives pretty frequent in the area up in the Minnesota area in the modified.
yeah, we run wherever there's an open date. We don't run PPL, we don't run Outlaws, we just run NTPA. Otherwise, you got to switch the stuff around too much for rules, and especially we go on Outlaw. You have to switch everything and do a lot of switching on fuel and all that stuff, and the miles are the same. And so basically we start pulling in Memorial Day and we end up at Enderly. That usually one of the very few years that we haven't been at, won't be at the Enderly. My daughter will be there taking pictures and my son-in-law.
Yep.
Anyway, we enjoy pulling. Even if you lose, you got to get past that.
Yep.
Getting pissed off, you can get pissed off yourself for when you screw up. But then if you just going out there and doing something, there's always when you got this many rigs, you always got something that goes to shit.
Yeah. That's a good perspective.
I can imagine.
Well said. Well said. So when will the rebuild begin?
In between your mod?
Go ahead.
In between your mod and your 2-wheelers, and you've always got the occasional spare, like it's fun seeing people's different pulling shops and just all the stuff that they accumulate as far as engine blocks, cylinder heads, things like that. Collectively, how many engines do you think you've got in between what's in your tractors and sitting in your shop?
Probably 13.
Impressive. And now when it comes to the motor work, do you guys do a lot of that assembly and building all of yourself?
All of it.
You don't
all of it.
You don't even know all of my history. I was the first guy that developed the front discharge blower back in 1994.
Well, tell us all about that. How did that go?
We went down to I bought 3 blowers that the back bearings went to heck. I got all 3 of them for $1,000. I was going to shorten them up and make 871s out of them, and then I found out that lip on the back of the blower was too far ahead, so you couldn't cut 3 inches off. So I went down to a friend of mine in Minneapolis, Atlas Tractor, anyway, George Weplow, and we decided that we just shortened 3 inches off the front. So, but we took a blower case over to a friend of mine's place. He took a tracer inside the blower case to make the 3-inch slugs. But that was going to cost me $1,000 a piece for them slugs to have them made so they would just slide right in there. Anyway, so I called Mert Littlefield up and asked him about this pregnant idea I had about shortening them up. And he talked to somebody and he wants to get rid of you. I had the feeling he wanted me to hang up. And then he says to me, I'll call you back in a month. I want to put your idea into my computer analyzer and let you know what's going to happen. And I'll call you back in a month. 4 hours later, he calls me back, and I can tell he's about 4 feet off the ground. And he says, that idea you got that's going to drop the air temperature by maybe 100 degrees. And he says, I'm going to quit making these blowers I got and build a front discharge blower. But as soon as I get rid of these 80, what he should have done is started threw the 80 cases away and started over. Anyway, I got my 2-page article in the National Dragster about this kid from Minnesota that come up with this pregnant idea of making a front discharge blower. Anyway, but they wouldn't even put my name in there. Just a farm kid from Minnesota.
Wow.
Oh, those rascals.
Doc,
so for those not in the...
So I put this blower together and go to a first pull, and then they said to me, I told this guy, another competitor of mine, that I was going to shorten a 1471 up, and then I bring it to the pull, and he says, the fuel nozzles are still in back. You never shortened it up. So then he was going to protest me. And he is Dave Schreier and Ken Lapping over there, and I'm on the board of directors for NTP at the time, and he says, Doc, you ain't cheating, are you? I said, no, we're not cheating. It's shortened up inside. That's all the rule book reads. If he wants to protest me, he can. but then he didn't never protest me. And long story, we kept one of them just for GP. I sold them all with the motors that we gave to a guy from Wisconsin that built mini rods, but he got in trouble with the same things. Everybody always thought he had a 1471s on there, but it was if you looked at the first blowers that SCS built and tipped mine upside down or that thing upside down, you couldn't tell the difference. Basically, they did the same thing, but they just moved everything back. It was a cool idea. I should have went into making blowers them days, but I always wanted to just go pull it. I always wanted to win. I didn't want to go spend time building blowers.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story. It was a fun deal.
Yeah, interesting story. Thanks for the history on that, Doc.
There's a lot more history.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Tyler definitely didn't know his history, as you told him.
When you go 58 years, there's a lot of history.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. What will you all do any winter pulling when we see the Packrat team again? Just at the start of the 2026 season, I guess.
Yeah, I used to pull in the wintertime up in Canada and all that good stuff, but nowadays they got so much shit on chemicals on the road, we'd have to spend a lot of time cleaning our toter home up. And so we just park it in the wintertime and go snowmobiling and getting all the motors ready for it and stuff.
Takes all winter to get everything back together.
Anyway, we always come up with a new pregnant idea anyway, and pulling that we have to do. And our how you want to say operation, we always like to pull at the Grand National level so we can go by everybody once in a while. Because we ain't running for points, so we can put the sled wherever we want to, and two-wheel drives and never affect anybody.
There you go.
And sometimes the track will be 20 feet better. You go by everybody, and then all of a sudden everybody follows you over there.
Yep.
So life is.
Yep. 90% of us get our ass beat, but I say 99%. So, Packrat team, we really appreciate y'all coming on and talking about that experience. I know it's probably not one you're excited to talk about last Saturday, but it's definitely something fans like to hear from your all's perspective, and actually learn more about the story than I would have guessed. So it's great to have another family team in the sport to come on the podcast. Appreciate you joining us. Anything else we need to cover before we move on to our next guest or sign off? And also, best of luck getting the tractor back together. I know that's we all talk about the stuff that's not pleasant, but there's going to be hours and hours of reconstructing that thing. So best of luck with all that.
Yeah, we wanted to paint it this year anyway, so the frame at least.
You got a good sand job on it. So, cool.
Thanks for having us.
Yep. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you here soon down the road somewhere.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, that's quite interesting.
Don't play with fire.
Always cool to have people like that on that have been in the sport for that long. It's kind of fun doing these shows where we have multiple guests, but there's definitely times that you have people on and you're like, man, I feel like we could sit here for 2 hours and keep going. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that can sit there and say, oh, how long have I been pulling? Before the NTPA started. That's how long.
Yep. Yeah, that's
we should have asked him if he got DQ'd for the excessive fluid that was dropped on the track.
Oh, that's I actually, someone got DQ for that the other day. They said.
I know it. I hate to bring up that we actually meant to probably call John Link again and get his 2 cents on that.
Marvin answers the phone. We call him. That's good for our viewers. Let's try to keep it that way for now.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to call Marvin and be like, yeah, Marv, what's going on
there? We're good
Give
for
us
a Marvin call every 4 shows. So the positivity chart is paying off.
Yes.
But special thanks to the Packrat team. That's something with the CO2 and all that stuff. I had no idea, and obviously that's why it turned into a 19-minute alcohol burning. And ironically, we joke about the campfire burning of alcohol, but when you get those things on a track with that much fuel, it can be a tricky situation. So
I must have dinged a couple of people because I've got a few messages after that comment. So,
oh, do you?
Yeah.
Which comment? I can't keep up.
The excessive fluid comment.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shifting gears, we mentioned there were Tyler and his dad were chasing a points championship on the PPL side of things that wrapped up last week, and a former guest of the podcast. I don't even want to call him a young man because you might as well put him in our category now.
He's got a mustache, kind of.
Got a mustache. He's a little taller.
Yeah, a better mustache than me, might I say.
But 16-year-old rookie won the PPL championship there this year, and want to bring on our friend Tanner Nelson. I think the last time, what was the category we brought him on the last time? What was his first time he drove a truck last fall, and then less than a year later he's driving a mini rod and winning a championship. So mustache Tanner, welcome to the No Practice Podcast. You've aged 20 years since the last time we saw you. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good, especially after the weekend we had.
So go into it. Why do you think we have you on this podcast? We mentioned championship, but take us through your whole version of you driving a vehicle for the first time last October to now being a Pro Pulling League mini rod champion at age 16. Tell us how you got there, how it all happened, and
how much front end weight you got on the front of that mini rod.
Too much at times. But I started driving.
Oh yeah, guys, this little shit weighs like 115 pounds. if you haven't met Tanner,
the floor is yours, Tanner. Give us a rundown.
I started driving
Sorry to
last
interrupt,
October at a local Bardstown, Kentucky, a TNT pull. The first night didn't go great. Had some issues. Came back, got fourth, I believe. Then wasn't supposed to go to Pullers Championship with my truck, but my uncle got busy with work. He backed out. I took his spot. Did pretty good there for my second and third time down the track. We went to some local ITPA hooks with my dad and my grandpa and the bunch that run over there. Got a few third, fourth place finishes. Then the RJ Simon pull came about, and I wasn't supposed to be driving a mini rod all summer long, I was told, and that came about. And probably they don't want me to drive, but they kind of figured out I had the most front end weight, and that's an advantage in the mini rod class. And I got behind the wheel there and did okay. Didn't set the world on fire, but did okay. And then we went to, we went there. We qualified for Saturday night with the truck and the mini rod. That was a good way to start our summer.
From that point forward, you were a full-time mini rod driver, right?
Yeah. So they told me.
So what went into the decision? Was it a quick decision? Like as a team, I know you're involved with your dad, your uncle, and your mom, and everyone involved there. But was there like a vote, or everyone said, "Tanner, you're driving this"?
I think it was just I was told I was driving, and I wasn't gonna not want to drive because a mini rod's a lot of fun.
Were you politicking for it at all behind the scenes, or
maybe a little bit?
Who makes the decisions in Midnight Motorsports?
The right answer is probably my aunt and my mom, but I'm gonna go with my dad and my uncle.
It's a smart man. Always call out the ladies first. So you made probably 10 to 12 runs on a mini rod this summer that led to a championship. Is that right? Total. What was the most memorable ride, and what was the worst experience? I don't think you've had a bad experience because every time I see you drive, it's like you've been doing 100 years.
Nashville was pretty nerve-wracking. Friday night, everybody in front of me went out, including my dad, went out and got, I wasn't going to say crash. Adam laid one out there first hook. But everybody after that was struggling to get down, and there was a lot on the line there, and you don't want to screw up. So it gets a little to you whenever my Uncle Jordan that won a championship came to me and said, "You're just going to have to drive by the seat of your ass." And that's a lot for me because I haven't drove a mini rod a lot, and I'm still learning what everything feels like in that.
Well, I think the positive side of it is that you have been in a two-wheel drive, and it does teach you throttle control. And as I get older, I probably started driving more like a two-wheel drive guy. It definitely should help you. A lot of people get out there and think you just throw it wide open and see what happens, and that doesn't always work. It does work sometimes, though. Maybe with your weight situation, I think maybe you should try it more often.
One day you said drive the seat of your ass. You'll have more ass, and you'll weigh what we weigh. and you have a different mentality. But I think you got a few years to worry about that.
I don't know about that. Have you seen his dad? I don't think he's going to be 210 like the rest of me, or I don't know what you weigh, Chase. And Tyler's down there. He's lost some weight. So
what do you weigh, Tanner? I'm about 220 right now.
114 today.
Oh my God.
So 100 pounds basically on the front of a mini rod. Adam, what would you say that's a big number? Would you agree?
I would put all of it on the nose. I would still try to put it all on the nose.
Yeah. But
having that much actually hurt us at Bowling Green this year. Both days we hardly picked up the front end, and everybody always said you couldn't.
I was just going to say, you got 100 pounds, yes. Then you go there and it's 150 pounds you get to add to the nose.
Yeah, that is true.
Just saying. Sorry, Tanner. Didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Everybody says you
look
can
at
have
this beautiful path on this tricky track.
Yeah, look at
all of us struggling to get down it. Tanner goes out there looking like a seasoned veteran, just gets that puppy wide open and just smooth as can be. Ain't no thing. And yeah, meanwhile, I'm out there and I'm like, yeah, guys, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a couple of years and just can't go 150 feet hardly without just screwing everything all up. Making us look stupid out there, Tanner, is what you're doing.
Probably a lot of beginner's luck.
Yeah, we'll go with that for sure, for sure. How does it compare to the two-wheel drive driving the mini rod? Obviously, you started out with the two-wheel drives. Your family is incredibly known for the two-wheel drives and kind of toeing the water in the mini rods. And I mean, now just kind of kicking ass in the mini rods. How do the two compare?
The truck, it's still a lot of fun for me because I'm so new. I enjoy both of them. The truck's just, there's a lot more that you can mess up with. The throttle's a lot out of the hole. The mini rod, once again, sometimes you can just come out and bend it over and it'll go, but sometimes, like at Nashville, you have to drive it out and wait for it a little bit. The truck's definitely a lot louder and a lot fumier, and I don't like that part at all.
The truck is louder, despite the
Way
headers
louder.
exiting outside of the body.
No, they're way louder, Tyler. You're sitting inside and
Really?
that sound is bouncing across in there. I drove a two-wheel drive. My brother-in-law's two-wheel drive one time, and they didn't tell me to wear earplugs. Do you wear earplugs in that thing, Tanner?
I wear earplugs in both.
Do you?
Yep.
I see. I wasn't told that. I don't wear earplugs when I'm driving the mini rod, and I'm telling you, Tyler, this is the loudest thing I've ever been in my life. Is that two-wheel drive? Those headers, they exit outside the body, but it comes inside, and the noise is just, it's insane. Does it make you feel like coming from a mini rod? Like, does it sound like the motor's even coming up like the other one is because of how loud the other one is?
The mini rod, I feel like it can turn a lot of RPMs and it not sound like it. And then I go to a truck and I'll be half throttle and I swear it's screaming and I hesitate to open it up. Like
because it's
at Nashville, Saturday night, I don't think I ever opened the throttle all the way because I thought it was screaming.
Yeah, that's what happened to me the first time I drove. I never even got the whole thing. Track was not good, but yeah, I don't even think I ever opened it up either because it was so loud.
So Tanner, take us through. We've been talking about your summer. Obviously, one you'll never forget. You won a championship in mini rod, and obviously your uncle won one in the two-wheel drive. You as a person, are you a junior in high school now? Is that correct?
Yeah, junior.
Junior in high school. What do you do for fun outside tractor pull?
Farm. That's about it. That takes up a lot of our time.
You just farm. What do you plan to do in the next couple of years as you get out of high school? Have you thought that far ahead?
Probably just work with my dad in the body shop.
Very good. Y'all do a lot of cool ass stuff. It's fun to I'm not a big Snapchatter, but it's fun when your dad sends stuff out at all the work and projects y'all do at Nelson. It's Nelson Custom Paint, right? Yeah, NCP. Cool. Well, there's been a high demand to bring you on this podcast, Tanner. Obviously, not better time than now. You being a champion, you being a 16-year-old badass in the sport. But there was a lot of highlights for you this summer, and we wanted to bring you on after this certain event happened, but just didn't really work out. Wanted to be appropriate. So I don't know. Do you watch the No Practice podcast very much, Tanner?
I watch it every time it's on.
Are you familiar with the reverse takeoff Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
So
I
for
figured
those
this was
fans,
coming.
so for those fans that aren't aware, you always see Adam's intro where we call it the reverse takeoff. We're eventually going to do a highlight video, but backstage, this was a monumental moment for a number of reasons. First and foremost, you can go ahead and get the video queued up to play. The reverse takeoff induction for Tanner himself. As a fan of the No Practice podcast, I'm sure there probably came a half a second thought where he realized what he'd just done and how his life would never be the same. So, Tanner, where were we? What video are we watching here? As you see
Goshen.
Goshen. Okay. Oh, so there.
Yeah.
So for fans, this is the Hall of Fame moment we mentioned where the green flag is up and Tanner took off in reverse. But the thing that was very monumental about it, Tanner, is what happened right after this.
Went out and won.
You went out and won. I think we had the backstage. Continue let the rest of the video play, because right now, are you thinking about these dudes are going to crush me for this?
It did cross my head whenever I went back and took a breath. I was like, oh, I'm never going to hear the end of this one.
Well, we waited a few months, but to a Hall of Fame worthy induction, you backed it up, blew her out the end, and won. This is your first ever win, right, Tanner?
Yep.
Was the fist pound there for the Hall of Fame induction reverse takeoff or for the win?
Hall of Fame.
Okay, good. Well, what better way to back up a monumental moment of taking off in reverse than backing up with a win in competition? So, what do you have to say about this? This could be bigger than the championship you won.
It's not the brightest moment of my rookie season, but it's something I won't forget.
My favorite is John Mears. If we see that once more, because John, known for pulling the mini rods, to get the slack out of that chain, and just he does his thing up there with Tanner, and he kind of pushes the tires, make sure there's no slack in that, and green light, green flag, we know the deal, and he kind of gives you down the track there, when all situations are go, and he just turns his back to you and kind of starts wandering off, and then okay, yeah, you can see the moment here. John pushes Tanner ahead. He's like, yep, there's nothing that's going to go wrong here. Tanner, my boy, head on down the track, and I'll catch up with you later, all right? Now watch John here. Just, yeah, well, that's no good there. We'd better straighten this out here. I love
Tanner,
it, but handled well. I'd back up into the sled, Tanner, if it meant I could pull off a win. So
every time.
All said and done, Chase, do we have some sort of an award or something that we need to?
Yes. So official No Practice podcast.
First one.
Reverse takeoff Hall of Fame. This is in the mail to you. Signed by all three of us. We have yet to sign it, but it'll be monumental. You want to keep this the rest of your life until your kids about one day. The Reverse Takeoff Hall of Fame induction for Tanner Nelson at the young age of 16. Tanner, there are a lot of people that belong in this Hall of Fame, but we only bring you on here because we love you and you're a good candidate for it. So as the winter months come along, we are going to unveil a mixtape of all the reverse takeoffs. But congratulations.
There's more than you think. So pullers beware.
Yeah,
we have
that's
your
right.
number.
And not only is Tanner the youngest member of the Reverse Takeoff Hall of Fame, but at the age of 16, he is the youngest person to have ever won a Champions Tour title. And that's pretty badass. That's right up there with the Reverse Takeoff Hall of Fame. No question, Tanner. So well done. Thanks for the ass kicking. I'm going to see if I can't starve myself this winter, maybe get down to like 100, 175 pounds, something like that. And we'll square up next year, and maybe I'll try to keep my internals inside the engine. If you guys don't give us that hot fuel anyway, we can't tolerate that stuff.
Tanner, so are y'all done pulling for the year?
Yeah, we're done.
You're done until probably the farm share, the winter pulls. Moving forward, make sure you eat everything you see until next summer. That'll be
lots of ice cream and lots of cereal.
When you see food, eat it. When you see food, eat it. So we don't want to recognize you when we see you next summer, Tanner. Congratulations, a great year, my man. Super proud of you. Congrats to the whole Midnight Motorsports team. And we actually have one of your running mates. Anybody you need to thank for all this, by the way?
Yeah, I got to thank our whole team. They won the championship, and I get all the glory for it. My mom, my dad, most important. Without them, none of this would be possible. My aunt, my uncle. They are halves in the tractor. My Jordan, ever since he's moved back, I don't go a day without talking to him, and it's been a blast working alongside of him this summer. And Cruz, Carter, Blake, Brady, John Card. Not enough is said about him. It's no secret that last year wasn't our year at all. We tore up a lot of shit, and he did his homework, and we changed a lot of stuff in the program, and we came back this year, and it showed itself this year, and you can't thank him enough. SSI Superchargers, they keep us going every weekend. Chad Mayhill for the tires, last minute touch up before Nashville, and got a second and a fourth place finish, and that really shows his work.
You didn't
well
thank your
done,
sister. Will she be mad about that?
Now, she don't watch this anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, but my sister,
She was
always
there
keeps,
to support you, though. I seen her. She put a post on Facebook about how proud she was of you.
Yeah. Great Pull-Off family. Awesome kid. Proud of you. We would cheers you, but you're not old enough to drink, but one day we will.
Oh, he's got a Diet Mountain Dew there. There we go.
Keep it clean.
Cheers, buddy.
What time school start? 8 a.m.?
8.
All right, you better get to bed, son. Have a good night. Tell your parents congrats and your aunt and uncle as well.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
You the man.
Thank
Good
you.
job, bud.
Reverse Takeoff Hall of Fame inductee Tanner Nelson. Not to be downplayed for 16-year-old champion. That's a pretty cool story. Super proud of that kid, as we said. So anything we got to get the Reverse Takeoff mixtape together. We're always last minute, but this could be a lot of fun when the winter gets here and it's quiet. I think we could do a lot of commentating on the Reverse Takeoff.
Yeah.
So, and there's a couple repeat entries.
Oh, yeah.
Adam never screws up, but he screwed up one time, and he'll never live it down the rest of my life. I'm just.
I think the whole reason you did is because you guys were looking for a bad run that I had and you couldn't find one, and then you were like, "Oh, we got him with this one."
Well, I wouldn't say that, son.
Yeah, no, I'm
Actually, I remember where I was and what I was doing because we were parked next to each other in Wheatland, Missouri, and we've joked about this forever, way before this podcast was ever even a thought. And you came at the trailer and like you took your helmet off. You weren't mad about anything. You said, "Mother ever, I took off a reverse." I'm like, "Yeah." So, it's all fun. It's all fun. And I actually was somewhere. I was thinking about that today. Somewhere the last couple of weeks at a pool where I was watching a pool where someone took off in reverse. It was not a mini rock class, but I can't remember who it was. But
we'll find it.
It will
find it.
It does happen at times.
If any of our fans want to do a little homework and know of an instance, just go ahead and don't be afraid to share it with us because we'll definitely get them.
You could be at any pool anywhere. If someone takes off a reverse, send us a clip any time of the year. We'll be sure to spotlight them on the show. So
right,
yes,
yeah. So Tanner mentioned Mr. John Card. I don't know. Need to probably formally give him an introduction before he comes on, and maybe speak of the activity that led to this guest because you two were kind of enlightening me on it. If you want to, Tyler, Adam.
Yeah. So basically, after the Nelsons clinched those 2 points championships, there was some certain excitement in the pits and everybody they know what's going on. So everybody will kind of wander over to those championships pits because, they tend to party a little harder, maybe stay up a little later and have their music on a little louder, although maybe not as loud as Adam, but still pretty loud. And so no doubt the Nelson camp was having a good time. And Adam even made his way over to the Nelson camp where the engine builder for the Nelsons was present, Mr. John Card. And he was having a good time as well as he should be celebrating. And, Adam himself being an engine builder as well, John said to Adam, Adam, I've always had nothing but respect for you. People think we hate each other. And it was quite something to observe, Adam and John just interacting with each other. And they're like, yeah, I've had nothing but respect for you too. And we just got to chit chatting and John said, I've never been on the podcast, and we're like, well, you know what, John, screw it. Even though it's 2 a.m. and we're all, I don't even know how many beers deep, you're coming on next Wednesday. And so without further ado, the man who built the engine for Tanner's mini rod and Jared's 2-wheel drive truck, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Card joining us this evening. John, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, good guys. How are you?
Good, good. Did I do a good job retelling that story, or how did that go for you, John, from your point of view?
You missed a couple things, but you did good. Yeah.
What did I miss, John? What did I miss?
I think there was some shotgunning happening. Maybe you missed that a little bit. But...
No, we have video of that.
We have video
wait a
proof
minute.
of that.
We've got a video backstage. If we've got a video there of what Mr. John's talking
now,
about.
I'll give John. This was his number 3 of the night. So. There we go.
Oh yeah.
John Shotgun, this is the third one.
Rewind
so there
that.
you have it.
Who won that?
Oh, Adam got him. Yeah. But, you know.
I'm doing my best impression of Tyler. It's just not as fast.
Yeah. You know, in John's defense, that was John's third one. I had the honors
and that's
of
pretty
shotgunning.
fast.
That was pretty good for his third one, I got to say.
Yeah.
You know?
And
so,
John,
that was
John, just ask. That beer wasn't that cold, was it?
No. And that was my third one ever.
Yeah. Third one ever and third one for the night.
better,
So,
the
John,
beer or
at the ripe age of, what are you, John? 62?
60, yeah.
60.
60?
Easy
Okay.
now. Easy, Tyler. Jeez.
For some reason, I thought John said 62 that evening. So, yeah. John, obviously, you're not known for shotgunning beers, although, you know, you were that night. Tell us how you got in the position you're in, what you do, and tell us all about yourself.
Well, I started back in high school with 4-wheel drive, state level trucks and stuff. And we had a bunch of friends and we pulled at state fairs or whatever. So I kind of always been a gearhead on the truck and tractor pull stuff. And I worked at car dealerships. And I built my first modified in 1986, modified 4-wheel drive. And then I toured for United States Hot Rod and indoor circuit and stuff from 85 up until 88, 89. And then I was in the car dealerships, early 90s, 92, my daughter was born. And so I kind of stepped back from tractor pulling, truck pulling for a few years and focused on the family stuff. And then a friend of mine, we ended up having an opportunity to buy another 4-wheel drive truck. So we got back into that. I think it was in 96 and we pulled to 2000 on the 4-wheel drives. And then I worked for car dealerships, like I said, service managers and stuff. And then I I guess it was to be quick about it, it was in 2011. I was drag racing and I went into Knox's Sassy Engines in Ware, New Hampshire to buy parts for the drag car. And John Knox mentioned something to me about wanting to retire or whatever. And I just threw this statement out to him. I said, when you want to do that, if you ever decide you're going to retire and you want somebody to come in and run the parts department or whatever, I said, give me a shout. And a couple of days later he called. And that was kind of history. I went to work there then, ended up buying into the company 14, 15, 16. And then Brian decided that he was going to semi-retire and do something different at the end of 19 into 20. So I bought the company from him. And then unfortunately COVID hit about 30 days later. And here we are today.
Interesting timeline there, John. Me personally, I didn't know you until we got ready for this podcast. You had a pulling history way back when that you took a break from, but it kind of something that's always been your DNA. So thanks for sharing all that history of in the Sassy name and brand. Obviously resonates with the Knox family, the Sassy Massey tractor, and the 90s and so forth. So you came in, you said around 14, 15, 16 with that family, and now you've put your name and brand on it and relocated from New Hampshire to Indianapolis. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Brownsburg. We're at DSR, Don Schumacher Racing. We've rented a bay here between Ron Capps and Alexis Gigerio. And so, yeah, that's cool. We got here in July last year.
What's it like? Go ahead, Tyler.
What has that transformation been like? I mean, tell us what inspired that, and what kind of doors that's opened when that move took place.
That opened tons of doors. What transpired really was being out there in New Hampshire, shipping, customers getting their engines created and freighted out there. It was getting tough. Financially, it was getting hard. Couldn't find help. I bought some CNCs and tried making some of my own stuff, and then I had trouble getting employees that would stay or knew what they were doing, and we struggled with that. And as Adam would know, in today's world, you got to kind of make more than you buy, and to get the quality and to get what you're looking for. And that just wasn't working out for us. And from my years of drag racing, some of the contacts that I made over the years, I became friends with Dean Antonelli, Guido from Ron Capps, and John Medlin. And they would every once or twice a year when they come out to run at Epping. Back then they used to run twice. Now they only run once. But they'd stop by our shop out there in Concord and visit. And they brought Matt Archer with them, which was the general manager at the time. And they're like, man, you need to be out here. You need to be out in the Midwest. That's where your clientele base is. And hey, Matt said, here at DSR, we have all these manufacturers. We build blocks, we build heads, we build blower cases. We have dynos, we have engine dynos, we have blower dynos. He said it'd be a great opportunity for you. So Carol and I thought about it and kind of turned it down the first time, because it's 60 years old. Back then we were 50, 59, but it was a big change in life. Our kids are all over the place, and our daughter and our youngest grandkids are in Maine, and we're all very close to them. So that was going to be tough, but I knew that I had to make that change. We had to be out here. We had to be somewhere where people could work with me and help engineer our own products. Because just buying something, buying heads or blocks from another manufacturer and putting your little mock-up on it and trying to build engines and keep these guys going just wasn't profitable enough. And so connecting rods, blocks, heads, stuff like that, we're now manufacturing all that in-house here after 13 months. We're going down that direction. So the future's looking good. It was a very tough decision personally. It was the right decision business-wise.
Right. I mean, so you said you're 58 years old. You lived in that area your entire life, correct?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Rhode Island. And then Carol and I, through the dealership stuff, when I told you I worked for General Motors, got transferred on a job promotion type deal. Took another job in New Hampshire in 1992, and we've been there ever since.
Gotcha. And you worked for the Sassy Racing engines there for what, 3-4 years, you say?
No, I worked for them from 2011 till I bought it. I started buying in ownership in 2014.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, I started buying in some ownership there. John and Rodland was going to retire, and I started buying in that a little bit. And then I purchased it totally from them when Brian decided he was going to step away in 2020. It was just before COVID hit.
Gotcha. So did you ever think when Brian stepped away that he was going to go somewhere else and build engines?
No, during the initial conversations that we all had, he was going to retire. And as the world knows, he's famous to, in his show chickens. And that was the direction he was going to go. He was going to retire semi. He talked about me staying there, buying the company. He'd do some fuel system stuff on the side. And then he would, do his show chickens and stuff and kind of semi-retire. He had plenty of land and stuff that he could do that. And then right after the deal kind of went through, he made an announcement one day that, he had an opportunity and he was going to leave and come out here to the Midwest. And at that point in time, the team he went to was Pulling Tractors, super modified in the Pro Pulling League Series. And so he was going to be a crew chief and stuff with them. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. So they're doing fuel systems and building engines. And did not know that at the time, but it is what it is today.
That's the way it goes. Have you ever considered buying out Brian's portion of the show chicken deal, or are you scared that he might go elsewhere and start showing chickens as well?
Yeah,
hey, John, by the way,
I mean, I was an FFA when I was in high school and as a kid, and I was always into animals, and my parents and grandparents had a dairy farm and stuff, or my grandparents did. And I was into cows and horses and all that, but the chicken thing, I ate too many chickens when I was younger. I don't want to show them.
John, just always remember you agreed to do this under the influence of shotgun and beer.
Yeah, true.
So it's fair game.
And I want to clarify again. That's the only 3 beers I shotgunned in my life that night. So
that's why I had to ask you
what
what was
how much those 2 championships meant after what we went through last year.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was better, the beer or the twisted tea?
Oh God, that twisted tea shit sucks. Jeremy Nelson, I don't know how he drinks that crap. I love
That's
the guy,
all he
but I don't know how he
drinks.
drinks.
That's all he drinks.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
So
I think that evening, John looked at Jeremy and said, "I love you, but I almost lost a little bit of respect after tasting what you drink all the time."
That was a factual statement. Yeah.
Championships are special, John. You mentioned, and obviously we have a ton of fans that love to just hear the other side of what we talk in general terms about. You and Tanner said this earlier. You say what you went through last year. There's, from our experience in our team, the last 4 or 5 years, and I'm not speaking on your behalf, but if you wouldn't mind indulging what you mean by that, I want to give this preface, though, is like the quality of some parts you get, I think, are concerning, and it's something that we try to keep a better eye on and ran into things that you never thought would be a problem with, you have a problem with. Would you mind sharing just what you all mean by that, just being blunt?
Yeah, I mean, we in this industry over the last few years know that we have to check parts, right? That's just kind of part of it. So you got to check stuff, measure stuff. But it just got so in the last couple of years, and I don't want to go back and blame COVID like everybody does, but since COVID, it definitely has been more of a struggle. And then we have now, it's getting to a point where we got to check and measure stuff that we didn't do before, right? Like there's always plenty to do, but now you got to get on the other end. And then we just got batches of bad stuff. I had, and I'll say it, I had valve problems. I had sleeve problems. We chased a lot of different things. Definitely had a rod problem. And, one of the big things for me was when I had that opportunity to move out here a year ago, and in-house here, Ned Wallace's son, Logan, he's the lead engineer here, and he worked with me tirelessly, and Anthony Gavel, who's my lead engine builder here. We worked tirelessly to develop a connecting rod that was going to hold up to the loads that we put on 2.0 dives, and we load them a little bit harder in our program. So we just had issues with that, and so we worked tirelessly on that and made a really good rod, and then piston issues, and we had wrist pins, and it was just a bunch of different things where I don't know if it's fair to say the quality of what was being made, but the quality control of it leaving the supplier, I think some of that's maybe missing some. And then there's other things too. As everyone talks, we put bigger blowers on it, make more boost, and move more CFM, and make more cylinder pressure, and it just creates that weaker link. And so you always got to be on top of it. Those guys have thanked me in the last week about, I did my homework, and it's just my job. But it was stressful as all crap when you're out there and you have these guys running for championships, and then they're down last year. I mean, we lost it to point blank, lost it to an engine failure, and it shouldn't have happened. And I'm passionate about the sport, and I take it very seriously. So I think I take it too hard on myself. But it's just, we care, you care about it and you want to do well.
Hey, John, I got a question for you, because I'm really curious to see what you say about this. What do you think is, how do I even put this kind of this way? What do you feel is the most difficult part about being an engine builder?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
Blame the twisted T shotguns, John.
Well, I can just tell you from my side of things, like a guy can have not so good of a chassis and not run good. It's your fault. I mean, you could give him all the best information. So I just want to know, like, I'm curious, like, as an engine builder, what do you think about the most difficult thing of being an engine builder is?
That's one. I think that's a tough deal. I always try to ask the right questions when we're doing a new motor build for somebody. What's your chassis like? And I'll say, oh, I got a mod, and so I'll call Brad and talk to Brad, and Brad will kind of go over what the combination is going to be, or if it's a mini rod, same idea. You try to get that, because you don't want to send a guy out with a 3,200 horsepower motor and he puts it in with a Dana 60 rear end and a mini rod. You know what I mean? So I try to to do that. But you do get I do get a lot of guys that come back and, we get blamed a lot. Like when they don't do good, you get blamed. And I think it's the first thing to everybody's mind is, I'll get a phone call. Man, I suck. I'm not doing good. Well, how'd the motor run? Well, I ran good. Rods are still in it. Yeah. Everything's good. Yeah. But I suck. I got 13th. Well, it's a package deal. You know what you guys know as pullers and champions that it's a combination. You have to put it all together. And I think the engine builder, especially in my case, I'm in a little bit different situation than most because I don't compete. I'm one of the ones that are out there trying to do it every week and don't compete. And that's why I try to go to as many pulls as I can. Now that I'm out here, that's been awesome. But back in New Hampshire, it was tough. But I try to go and stand there and watch every tractor take off and every truck take off and try to learn as much as I can to make my program better for our customers. And that's hard too, because I feel that one thing I struggle with, Adam, more than anything is getting the input back when things aren't right to try to help the guy go forward. And you never get that right answer. You never get that right information.
Right. No, I get it. I mean, and this is no offense to any of my customers. I'm not mentioning anything about this. I just, it's really hard to be successful whenever you're trying to give information and the guy could lie to you, right? They could lie to you. So, I was in this gear and I don't understand why it's not turning RPMs. And then you're really scratching your head going, man, that just don't make sense. I've been pulling long enough. If a guy tells me, hey, in a 2-wheel drive, I'm running a 20-to-1 gear and it's only turning, 7,000 RPMs and this is how lean the engine is. And I start scratching my head going, that just don't make no sense. Like you should be turning 8,200 RPMs. And, so getting the information back, like you said, is maybe hard to do. The other thing is they don't listen to you. And you're trying to, like I try to tell all my guys is like, I'm not doing this. I would not lie to you. I would not give you bad information. I want to see genuinely every person that runs anything for me, whether it's you buy a set of pistons from me or buy a complete engine from me, I want to see you do good. So, I'm not going to give you bad information that would tear your stuff up. And then you get like customers bickering between each other. Well, so-and-so's doing this and then just fighting that battle of constantly trying to mediate what's going on between pullers.
I call it the puller drama zone. It's funny because, I say this to, like I said, you guys are competitors and you're out at the polls a lot and I try to get to many as I can, but I live stream anything I can live stream.
Sure.
If one of my customers running regional, state, grand national, pro pulling league outlaw, I try to live stream and I'll get phone calls and maybe some tuning advice help being asked and try to work with them as much as I can. And I will get a phone call from another puller within seconds from someone blowing a motor up that I didn't even know blew up yet. And what's the matter? What's wrong? What do we got going on?
Yeah. Is it going to do to mine? Is it going to do it to mine? Is it going to do it to mine? Well, it's the same stuff, isn't it?
And my famous quote is my crystal ball is broke. So.
Yeah. I always say, John, and this one works very good, so don't use it too often, is like guys call me up and they'll send me a picture of the filter and they go, what do you think? I go, I can't see through the metal. Like, it kind of looks like this. It could be this. I can't. Is it good enough to run? I don't know. Like, I can't see through the metal.
Yeah.
So
and I struggle with that a little bit with spark plugs. I get a lot of pictures of spark plugs on their cell phone to read.
I just put them in there. They probably got 7 runs on them. Just put them in there.
I say this all the time, and there should be a rule in NTPA that if you have a pulling engine in any type of vehicle, you need to have a race back.
Then I'm out. I don't have any.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
But you're doing it yourself. It would help you tremendously with your customers.
I would agree, John. I cannot even fathom running without one of those. After I have that, even if it's for positive reinforcement, when you're like, well, I don't know, did I get out of it too early? Was it going to settle down and make a pass? Or, did I miss my gear? How far did it lug down to? After having one, man, that data after a pass is just, you can't replace that. I feel like.
No, you're right.
I use it. It's as much. I can't. It's hard for me to do anything with that because RPM is a speculative bit of information until you look at it on a race pack. Like, oh, it turned 9,200. Well, it turned 9,200 for like half a second. So
the only argument I have to that is that it doesn't tell you how many weights are in the sled. It doesn't tell you where the trip's at on it. It don't tell you what gear's in it. It don't tell you how far the track is. So, I mean, in some regard, I mean, yeah, the engine information, I get it. I don't know. I try not to run my stuff on any level of kill to like my spark plugs and my bearings and my filters. There's good enough readings for me. And like I said, in my defense, I've been doing this for a long time, so I don't feel that I need it. Does it hurt me? Absolutely. I think it hurts me more than anybody could ever know, not having certain data. But you know, I know, but just one of those things. Pulling is a very interesting sport because it isn't always about the horsepower.
As a wise man,
there's a lot to do with it, but not always.
If you don't have any stroke, you got to do something to help your stroke.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and in today's world, you know, sleds are different, tracks are different. We detune a lot, right? You spend more time doing that at different locations, different polls, different organizations. But going back to that, Adam, you as a puller, not having it's one thing, but you as an engine builder would want it for your customers when they're trying to feed you information. You know,
absolutely.
From that perspective as well. Hey, when I was drag racing back in the alcohol days, you know, we were doing pro comp and stuff in New England. I didn't have race pack or nothing on my cars, but I knew enough. I shouldn't word it that way. I'd done it long enough that I knew what I was looking for and what to do and how to read it. This is a lot of customers out there today are really great people. They just don't have a lot of experience with that, and they're trying to give me the data. They're trying really hard, but man, it's a struggle. And then you want to pull your hair out because you're going.
Yeah. So basically, you're telling your customers if you want to improve your program and have me help you out, if you do have data acquisition, that's something I can tell you in this area.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe your blower's a little weak. Maybe you need to upgrade your supercharger. Maybe your temperatures are erratic on your cylinders. Maybe we need to flow your fuel system and maybe get some things lined out. Absolutely.
And that is key. And I've been doing that more and more the last few years. Or, you know, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, but if you can at least advise somebody to what you can do, they can do maybe to help you. I mean, I look at it this way too, right? We're spending $130,000 plus on these engines, total packages sometimes. And what is it? $6,000 for a race pack. I mean, so that $6,000 investment to help you as a customer learn and help me help you, I think that's an investment.
Absolutely.
I'd agree with that. You're going to get a better return on that investment when you know what it's actually doing, for sure. So you mentioned drag racing that you've done before. What's the fastest time slip you've ever ran in your entire life, personal best?
So here's the really weird thing about all that. I never raced. I never drove a car in my life. I built them. I bought them. I've tuned them. I've owned several teams and I've had different people drive for me. And I love that part of it, but I never drove anything. I'm not into speed. My wife says that I'm an old man. I drive 50 miles an hour down the road but I just get off on the rest of it. Like it's just like helping my customers. I want to tune it. I want to help them do good. So that's what I done. But our cars, over the years, I think 240 is the fastest we've been with the alcohol cars. Yep.
That's pretty badass for sure. Obviously, we know that you build engines for the pulling world. Do you get outside of the pulling world yet into the drag cars or some monster trucks or some things like that, or is it primarily just pulling?
No, I have a big monster truck clientele. Dan Patrick and I go back to the 80s when we pulled indoors, and we do all his stuff for Samson and PEI. He builds all the chassis now for Feld Motorsports. So we just finished up 5 motors for him this summer. That he's going to go overseas. They're doing a Hot Wheels tour. We do the Virginia Giant, Alan Pizzo. We still do a lot of stuff with those guys. We do some sand drag stuff, not as much as we used to in New England. We done some tough trucks, and I still build some drag motors. I got 4 or 5 out there that run Chaos, Funny Car Chaos. We don't do anything for NHRA. Obviously, that's their own deal. I mean, they'll buy a base motor, but you know, those guys all do their own thing, and they're all in the four. A lot of them are getting up in there in the 4.9 stuff. But we do a lot of sportsman. I still do quite a bit of sportsman stuff. Yeah.
Sure. When it comes to the engine in a monster truck, how does that compare to the engine that you would put in like a 2-wheel drive or a mini rod?
Not even close. Lower compression. They only run 10% overdrive on the superchargers. It's mainly, we call stab the pedal and go. So just they're idling, they stab it for 5-10 seconds, make some jumps, comes back to an idle again. Most of those monster truck motors, those guys will run them 3-4 years before we freshen them.
Straight rotor 8s, aren't they?
Yeah, straight rotor 8s. Yep. One Magneto 20. I think they let them go to 44s now, but it was the 20 mag. They had to run for years.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there restrictions on monster truck engines similar to what there is like in the pulling world?
It depends what series and stuff. Like that Hot Wheel series overseas, it's a straight rotor 8. It's a single mag, 20 mag. Cubic inch limit, I think, is 550, 540, something like that. Yeah. Now, like the Feld Motorsport stuff, you know, they all went to Chevrolets. So that whole thing is based off Chevrolet stuff now, which is a shame. We really thought that was going to go down the road about 3 years ago, where that was going to be the Hemi platform, and that was going to be another outlook, you know, deal for us. But it ended up going to Chevrolet. So.
I've heard from people that when it comes to like, you know, the races in the monster truck world, it's really not true competition, and some of it's kind of staged on some levels. Can you speak to any of that? Or
on the monster truck stuff, I really can't. I mean, I've been to a bunch of the shows and stuff over the years, and like I said, I think it was definitely staged and show back in the 80s and 90s when we were doing all that hot rod stuff indoors and SRO and then USA. That was all staged. Some of the pulling back then was staged. I remember being in Madison Square Garden and the sled pushed me out of the hole in a 4-wheel drive. You know, that was just different back then. It was all entertainment show. Today's monster trucks, I mean, outdoors and stuff, I think those guys that are out in the racetracks and stuff race pretty hard. I think they're pretty much on it. The indoor stuff, it's hard to say.
Would you ever believe? So they used to pull Madison Square Garden. I'd like to see them have a tractor pull in Madison Square Garden right now.
Yeah. Imagine the pit party with those shotgun and beers and the alcohol burning methanol in the pit.
Yeah. Hey, and back in that era, you know, we used to go to Worcester Centrum, Portland, Maine, Richmond, Virginia,
right.
You know, all over those places. And it was the wintertime. And we would back then I had an old cut-off school bus, and I had my 4-wheel drive on the back of an international school bus, and we'd pull the whole thing inside the stadium. You know, and you'd have them old school buses where gas and oil leaking on the floor, and you know, hundreds of thousands of people in
Madison Square Garden. That's really happened then.
Oh yeah, and and back then no ventilation systems at all.
Yeah,
we used to be a proper country.
Look,
we used to smoke on airplanes.
That's why.
We used to smoke on airplanes.
Yeah, it was crazy.
John, awesome stories, awesome background. We talk about everything on this podcast. You mentioned that you and your wife relocated from your whole life in the Northeast, as I assume is what you said, to the Midwest.
Yes.
Pulling aside, what is the difference in life in the Northeast compared to Midwest? Or maybe this is more of a question for your wife, but for anyone just generally listening, like how much different is it to make that change at your age in life? You're still a young man, but you know, predominantly you're a Northeasterner to come to the Midwest.
You don't want to ask her that question because you don't want to hear the answer you'll get from her. But it was very hard on her. It was hard on both of us. Like I said, from the personal side, it's a lot different out here. You know, being away from the family, our grandkids were young. I mean, it's a tough deal. We made a pact that if we did it, she wasn't going to work full time anymore for me. She was going to try to go back there. She's there this week. She's going to try to go back as much as she can. I try to go back as much as I can. We have Disney trips that we get together and try to do and meet the kids. We have kids down in Alabama. But I really, how do I word this? And please don't take any defensiveness to it, but I really don't like it out here. But I've only been here a year, and all I've done is work. I'm a big outdoors guy. I fish, hunt, snowmobile, you know, and I find that hard here since we've been out here. You know, I used to go out my back door and the back 40 and go deer hunting afternoon or in the morning before I went to the shop, or Saturday or Sunday. And out here, I got to find somebody, I got to rent some land, and I got to drive to it. So those things are different for me. Mountains, lakes, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm sure I'll get used to it eventually, but all in all, it's just kind of been a different deal.
The seafood sucks too, right?
Oh, there is none. It's frozen. It's terrible.
How much?
It's frozen. Yeah.
How much do you miss lobster rolls, John?
A lot, man. I'm a lobster phenomenon. I love this stuff, but so I miss all the seafood stuff. And one of my customers,
John, just like you had a few drinks you up in this podcast, I'm learning a lot about you on here, and you know, everyone may be competitors in pulling, but if you ever just want to come 2.5 hours down the road, I have plenty of ground you can deer hunt on. And the only rent I'll charge you is the gear ratios your competitors your clients run. But
no problem.
Chase, remember you were talking. Remember those strokes you were talking about earlier? I don't think you can run those gears, brother.
All in all, though, seriously, we're 2 hours away from Indianapolis. You can give me 1 day's notice. We got plenty of ground you can hunt on, just because you're good for pulling.
So do you ever frequent downtown at all?
Not really. I mean, Carol and I took our middle grandson this summer to the zoo and things, and in Indy and cost PRI and stuff like that. But most of the time it's business. We're so busy. It's just three of us. It's me and Anthony, and then we have Carol, you know, like I said, trying to cut back on our hours. And there's just so much going on for us that, you know, and then trying to go to some polls that the winter's really busy trying to get everything ready for farm show in spring, and then the summer's really busy trying to keep stuff together and go into the polls. So there isn't a lot of free time. My son does have land in Alabama, my oldest son. What part
of Alabama, if you don't mind me asking?
He is in a town called Jameson.
What part?
Right out of Huntsville. Yeah. And so we go down there. I go down deer hunt with him for a week or so, usually in February. I have property, and my son-in-law and his dad take care of our camp in Maine. That's been a family. So I go up there Thanksgiving for a week and we deer hunt up there. But so I still get to do a little bit of it. But, yeah.
You need to become friends with Chase.
Drive to Kentucky, you can come hunt anytime, John.
Yeah, I mean, the Midwestern deer are big, but you can always just ask Chase sometime. He'll take you out there to Colorado. You can go elk hunting and all kinds of stuff out there.
No, someone says my dad just pays for me to go out there to put them in a fence so I can shoot them. So,
hey Chase, what's the name of that ranch you guys got out there? What's it called?
No, it's not mine. It's my dad's.
What's it called?
Cock and Balls Ranch, I think. Is what they call it. Yeah. That's another podcast for another day. John, come to Kentucky. You can hunt anytime.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
The other question I had about relocation. So, from a tractor pulling standpoint, where you are in Indianapolis, how many tractor pulls do you think you attend a year as an engine builder? Where you like being centrally located like that? Because I see you everywhere.
I've already been to 8 or 9 this year, and we were talking about the other day, man. And it's pretty cool because I can't remember the names of all of them, but like I think it was Fisher and Goshen and a few of them, Evansville. I can work till 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, get in my pickup or motorhome, drive out there, spend a night or 2 nights at the polls and be with my customers and learn stuff, and then come back and get back to work, Sunday for Monday morning. So that's been awesome. When I was out in New Hampshire, man, it was a nightmare. And I needed to, I knew I needed to, but it was almost impossible to do. Two different things was, one was trying to get away. And the second thing was being away so long because, flights and stuff were really hard out there to make that logistics work. So you wanted to drive a lot. Well, you're driving a motorhome across country. I mean, that first year they had Farley, it took me 2 days to get to Farley and 2 days to get back, So.
Right.
Jeez. Well, John, we like to do a segment on here that we call the rapid fire segment, where I'm just going to lay out a couple of questions to you. I'm sure they'll be real easy. You can just kind of give us short answers, no explanations needed, and we'll breeze right through these. So, what is more challenging to keep an alcohol burning engine alive in, a pulling tractor or a drag vehicle?
Drag vehicle.
What is the most trouble you've ever gotten into in high school?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't think I really got in much trouble, to be honest with you. Maybe
Okay,
I got
that's
something I don't remember. Yeah.
suspended. Okay, sounds pretty serious, but all right. Are dynos a good tool for tuning a pulling engine before hitting the track?
I think it's a good tool to learn where you're at and everything and try to get things figured out to some extent. But I don't think you can take it off a dyno and put it on the track and just go.
Okay, that's fair. Who would you rather build an engine for you, Darren Mayer or Ken Perry?
Darren Mayer.
What
You're
has
welcome,
been,
Adam.
What has been
I
the
don't like
single-
that guy. No, not
What-
Darren. I'm saying I don't like that guy.
Adam, positivity check. What has been the single most challenging component to develop for a high performance engine?
Probably the connecting rod.
All right. Could you take on 100 chickens in a fight to the death?
No.
What is there more of in the world? Pairs of Venny cylinder heads or SSI blowers?
Probably Venny cylinder heads.
In your experience, what is the one single component in an engine that fails most often, leading to engine breakage?
Last couple years, valves.
What team are you most proud to have been a part of that no longer competes?
Wow, that's a tough one. That no longer competes. Wow. Fire.
What was that, John?
I said that's not rapid fire, but I really can't think of one.
Oh,
Okay. Okay,
no
that's fair.
retirees.
Nobody
Nobody's
retires. They
retired.
stay at it. Nobody ever quits.
Nobody.
In my era of doing it, they're all still doing it. Really, I mean, I'm trying to think. I'm sure somebody has. I guess maybe. Gosh, the only one that's really retired that I did a lot with was Bill Oberstree.
Okay.
You know, gosh, I'm sure I'm running a blank, but I just can't think of it.
Okay. If you had to choose one of your customers to be your partner in a 2-on-2 tennis match against Marvin Epperson and John Mears, who would it be?
David Hunt.
Okay. Who would you rather vacation with for a week, Shannon Leichner or Brian Knox?
Adam Kester.
What? I don't believe that was an option, John, but all right. You handled the rapid fire. Nothing to it. Pretty
Hey, John,
easy,
just
right?
to let you know, there is good seafood in Indy. It's called the Ocean Air. I know this is not a free advertisement for the Ocean Air, and Indy is very good. Along with
Is it
Tony's
really?
Steakhouse is very good.
I heard of that one. We haven't been there yet, but we'll have to try it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's
St.
very
Elmo's?
good.
You had to have been to St. Elmo's, right?
Yeah, we go there every year, banquet time and stuff. Yeah.
Tony's is right next to the. I think they had the Weber grill that hangs off the side.
Yeah, yep.
Tony's is right next to it. Is very good. And
Tony's
then Ocean Air.
based out of Kentucky, Adam.
Is it?
Yep, it's based out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
Okay.
the food is phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yep.
Are you a football fan, John?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm not a diehard one, but I watch.
Patriots fan?
Yeah, I have been all my life. Yep.
I figured. What do you think about the new team? Are they going to be good this year or what? Vrabel got them knocked into.
I don't know. I honestly haven't watched it much lately. My son-in-law's into it pretty heavily, and I think he has high hopes.
Right. No, I mean, when you're working in the shop, I know it's always good to throw something up on the TV. College football, I'm more into the professional stuff, but I was just curious if you ever, I mean, outside of racing, is there anything that besides hunting and fishing, like anything else you get into?
Just doing stuff with the family when I can, which is hard to do, and you know, maybe going to a concert here and there. Again, Carol and I haven't had a lot of opportunities to do that in the last couple of years with everything that's been going on. But I enjoy spending time with the kids and the family and doing things when we can get there and do that. So
yeah,
Sure.
I think you'll enjoy the fall in the Midwest. You know, Indiana's really pretty this time of year, and they start farming. You in Brownsburg? I know you work there, but do you live in Brownsburg also?
no, we live in Avon.
Oh, I gotcha. That's a good place.
Yeah, we moved to Avon. We wanted to be a little away from the shop that first year, and so we just leased an apartment for the first year, and then kind of see how things are going to fit in, everything was going to go, and then decide, you know, where we wanted to end up. We've been driving around a little bit here and there, looking at different places,
Right.
and I found some other towns that I kind of, you know, are more country-ish. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
it's not quite as rural as this is, but yeah.
Sure.
That's reasonable. So I was curious, you know, we had Doc on earlier. He talked about how they had some issues with connecting rods. Obviously, you know, you spoke about that as well. Obviously, you receive those phone calls. How does it go as a representative of those manufacturers when you finally make the call to them? You know, do you ever get an OEM that owns up to some issues? How does that go behind the scenes from your standpoint?
Man, I don't want to sit here and lie, but no, I mean, hardly ever. But half of it is you can never prove it. And the biggest thing with it is, and I say this all the time, it's the chicken or the egg. And, you know, what came first? And
See, so you're a chicken guy too, John.
yeah, let's not go down that road. But that's
chicken or the egg. Oh, it's Brian.
So, you know, but you're just trying, you know, you know what it's like. Adam's what it's
Sure.
like. You get an oil pan back and it's just a bunch of mashed up pieces and parts. And you're trying to, we joke all the time that we reverse CSI everything, trying to figure out what caused what. And we put a lot of time into it, but sometimes it's almost impossible. And, you know, but then sometimes, like just a couple weeks ago, we had an engine failure that was starting at Bowling Green, and the motor never got run. It got pulled back, brought here, and we were able to find out, you know, what was going on with it. And it was going to be a simple fix. It was a manufacturing problem, and therefore it didn't blow the customer's engine up. But that's rare. Most of the time, something happens. They fire them, they pull them. Stuff breaks, components go bad, and we can't figure out what it is. But on the rod deal, right, you know, this year I'm really happy about it because, like I said, you know, here at DSR, we developed our own rod. We're building our own rods. We stock them. And
how does that rod different from a nitro rod? A lot different?
No, it's very similar. So
Really?
It's a forged rod. We use the same material that we're using in the nitro rod. We put a solid cap on the back. We use the same bolt, but we have a 625 bolt upgrade for some guys that want to run that. This is not a drag race rod. We made this a little bit heavier. We changed our bob weight combination when I did this. I put more meat and strength into the beam, more in the cap end, and just tried to make it a stronger rod all in all, and not as brittle. What I found with the plate rods, my opinion, is when something else failed and hit that plate rod, it was like, I think Doc said it earlier, it was like glass. It just shatters. They just shatter in a million pieces, and then you have no idea what caused what, right? And we played around with that a little bit. Actually, there was a plate rod that was, you know, guys talk about this, and we give this recommendation to people, and I don't know, Adam, on your end with your manufacturer, if you do or not, but on the plate rod deal, we were told when you talk the rod up and you get a plate rod, and you put it in a motor and don't run it for a year and don't put it through a heat cycle, that there's a chemical reaction between the bolt and the material of the aluminum of the plate, and it will cause that to snap.
What?
Yeah, here's the thing about engine building, I think, that everybody maybe knows but doesn't know. There are so many old wives' tales of what you can and can't do with an engine. I mean, you talk to these rod manufacturers, and they all use certain kinds of bolts, you know, and stuff. Oh, if you touch it with the oil on your skin, it nitrogen impregnates the rod, and or the bolt, and it'll break. You know, I mean, there's just, you would not believe the stories that you've heard from different. All the manufacturers are the same way. Hey, send us the part. Send us the part back. We'll check out and see what it is. They ain't gonna ever do shit about it. Okay, they'll take it back. You're gonna waste shipping sending it to them. You'll send it, and they'll, you know, I don't know, what's the valve spring pressure? Well, what did they torque the rod to? Did they I mean, there's always an excuse that they have.
Because it goes back to Chase's question 15 minutes ago.
It's chicken and egg. Sure.
It's never their fault. You know.
No. I always tell them, everybody's like, "Is there a warranty on this?" It's like, it's concrete warranty. As soon as it leaves this concrete, it's out of warranty.
Yeah,
You know?
it's. I mean,
and you have to work with guys in certain things. If you make mistakes, you have to own up to them. And I've made mistakes, and you come up and you make it right.
we've all done that. Yeah.
It's I ran into the same thing with Brad Corporal. I had a rear end that went out in like the first couple passes, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "Brad, I'm an engine builder, dude. If it probably was nothing that you did, right? Could have been a bad bearing. The bearing wasn't good. Whatever stuff happens, just bill me, and I'll take care of it.
Right.
I'm not gonna fight you over a ring and pinion when we've broken many of them in the years. Just it's broke, fix it. We'll take care of it, whatever. But you got to look at it from both sides as a racer and a manufacturer. There's just so many things. And there's what people don't understand is there's so many things that you don't have your hands on. Like you can't control what the material's made out of. I mean, you hear all kinds of stuff. Oh, shit come from China. Well, maybe it did, but the worst part for an engine guy is trying to figure out how far that goes back.
Yeah.
Well, who's got this part and how many of them are out there? And we're scrambling to try to find where the bad thing is.
2 years ago when I had the valve issues, that's what we were doing. We were pulling serial numbers off them, off the boxes, manufacturing dates, trying to go back, trying to figure out what bunches were where and trying to pull stuff out. And it can be a nightmare. And I don't think some of our customers realize sometimes what we all go through.
Right.
I think they just think we sit back and make a lot of money sometimes, but it's a tough deal, and you work really hard to try to give them the best products. I mean, I changed everything last year. I redesigned everything going into 2025, and knock on wood, we had a couple major issues at the beginning of the season, but we think that was all
everybody's.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna have failures,
problems, and then the rest of the year has been good. And
well, you can't. The other thing, John, you can't control what the guy does with the mag, or you can't do anything when he controls the fuel.
Yeah. And a lot of them, the biggest thing for me is that well, I'm running it soft.
Soft. Okay. Yep.
And in their defense, a lot of them think they are, and they just don't realize that there's other things that can go wrong, oil detonation and other things that can cause problems. And so, like I said, it comes back to that race pack thing. In my book, truly, I believe the race pack is a huge help for me to help my customer. What
do you feel like the biggest component? I guess I'll make a statement here more than a question. Is like. Always guys ask me, it's like, well, how much timing is too much timing? And I always say, I don't know how much timing is too much timing. I can tell you on a dyno what guys say where the stuff is up and down or whatever. But do you ever see a torn up engine where the plugs aren't burnt? Not very often.
Once in a great while you do, but not very often.
Not very often. So usually I say there's like 5 things you can have, right? Or I think 5, you can have compression, right? Timing, lean, blower overdrive, and then just the quality of the part that's in there. But you can't have all those together, right?
Yeah.
You can have two of the 5. You got a cheaper crank in there, but you can't have timing in it. You can't have high compression in it. You can't have a lot of overdrive on it. Like you can have batches of that stuff, but if you kind of do that in moderation. If you want to run your engine lean, you better not have timing in it, and you better not have a bunch of overdrive in it. You better not have a bunch of compression in it.
No, you're going to want all that, Adam, for sure.
No you just can't have it all, brother.
Everybody has philosophy.
I'm going to say this, and I make this statement to my customers a lot, and I mean this, with all respect. There was a lot of guys for several years that we weren't making the boost in the cylinder pressure and the stuff we are in the last year or two. And they could go out there with that same tune-up, and somebody would do a fuel system for them, and they'd set it and say, "Hey, don't touch it," and it would be fat, and it would run down the track. And if it was bad air, a lot of water grains, they'd suck. If it was good air, not many water grains, they'd rise to the top of the field, and they ran like that forever. Now you got to be a tuner. You guys are all out there kicking ass every week. You guys are good at what you do. And you have to be on top of that. And I think that's one of the things. And then there's guys trying to do it that don't know how. and then they get it pushed over the edge sometimes.
Sure.
In their defense.
Absolutely.
When it comes to tuning, what do you feel is more important, reading a spark plug or having individual EGTs to make sure, you're watching your individual cylinder temperatures or exhaust temperatures?
So I tell these guys all the time, the race pack EGTs to me is just a confirmation of what the plug says.
Okay.
And that's how I look at it. I feel the plug is your accurate reading. But a lot of those guys can't read that plug, and they're trying to send it to me with a picture on your cell phone, and it's hard you can't read it that way. But I like to make that comparison. If I'm tuning something that has a race pack, first thing I go to standard plug reading, look at that, then I look at my race pack data, and then I make the comparison.
Sure.
Well, man, I always look at the EGTs first, and Bruce looks at the plug, and he tells me I'm wrong, and you just really confirmed that. So, thank you.
But the thing about it, Tyler, is it depends on what header, the location, all this stuff with it.
It does.
I mean,
there's many factors to it. Yeah.
But if they're all
Like,
consistent, same
I agree.
header.
Like the numbers. Here's what I tell a lot of guys: they're just numbers. Someone's like, "How many gallons should I be returning?" Oh, I don't know. How much boost you running? Well, I don't know. Like they're all just numbers in the big realm of things. Either the engine's happy or it's not. Like we can put all these numbers. Oh, you need 25 degrees of timing. You need 28 degrees of timing. You need 23 degrees of timing. You need this many gallons. You need this. I mean, they're just numbers.
You need 1100 degrees on the EGT. That's when they start.
When I had a computer on my tractor, I'd burn a piston at 1,078 degrees.
Yeah. I feel like anything over 1,000 is getting with the program, it seems.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I've always wondered.
I mean, we never try to run our stuff that high. We always try to be in the mid to high eights on the high side, mid sevens to low eights on the low side. But our combination's different.
Sure.
What we, like I said, 2 ways to skin a cat, both works, right? It's just different ways. And I think that happens sometimes too, is that the Adam, that both of us have customers that have both our products, and that I think sometimes is a tough deal, because the way they're trying to tune it versus tune yours, the way they're trying to tune mine, or they're trying to tune a Venny or whatever, and so sometimes that plays into the equation.
Yeah, I've always ran into that, John, only because ours isn't a Chrysler based engine like you guys have, right? There's Brads, there's Noonans, there's Allens, we can list MBEs, all of the heads are different, everything. I get a lot of guys that try to take that knowledge that they come from a Hemi and put it on an MBR, and it does not work. It just doesn't work. And vice versa. The guy buys an engine from you, they're not going to be able to do the same things I do on yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and that's why I say you either buy into the guy's program, or you try to do it yourself, and best of luck, basically. Because you know what you're doing, I know what I'm doing. Guys are farmers, or guys are this, and they have enough money to buy them. That doesn't entitle them to know what the hell they're doing, though. And there are guys that farm that do know what they're doing. But I'm just saying
that was a good save, Adam. I thought you were going after farmers there.
No,
good PR, Adam.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm just saying, like.
You're
when
going to be
it comes
raising
down to
chickens
nuts
if
and
you're not
bolts,
careful.
right? When it comes down to the nuts and bolts,
John,
I always try to go, hey, what? It's like saying, like I hear a song on the radio and hear somebody singing that song, like, oh, who sings that song? And like, oh, it's so and so. I was like, yeah, let's keep it that way. Like, I don't want to hear you singing it.
What's your couple questions regarding pulling? As you said, you're not a competitor, which makes you pretty unique with the outside perspective. You do have customers, obviously you have bias storage, but what is your favorite class, just as a spectator in pulling?
As a spectator, 4-wheel drive.
Oh, that is okay.
Because I came from that. Yeah, as a spectator. Yeah.
And you have no customers in there, right?
No. We were approached, Ben Ellis and Rob Foster and a few guys approached me a few years back about doing it just after Sonny passed. And it's just, we got enough going on what we got going on. And I feel, without being cocky, I feel we're good at what we're doing, and we're trying to make that better every year. And to add that other part of the equation would be tough,
Right. Yeah. More can be less, right?
Yeah. I'd love to do it from the competitor that I am of the 4-wheel drives. Like if I was going to go pull tomorrow, if it would work out and I could get back into it, that's the class I would jump back into. And I'd probably have to buy a Sunny motor or something to do that. But that's my favorite. As far as an engine builder, 2-wheel drive, I think, is my favorite. And I think that's because that's the most, I have a lot of those customers. I work with them really well.
Challenging.
It's a challenging class. It's one of the bigger classes now. That mini rod class is growing tremendously too. But it's just I enjoy that challenge of making that new combination work, and it's more to it than just the motor, man. I mean, we all know this. You started on this conversation earlier, and I kind of cut you off. I think Tyler asked a question, but you get customers that you sell motors to, and you put them in their rig, and they're just not competitive, and they're just beating you to death, and they're just missing so many other components, and it's so hard, you know, because I come across it this way, and I feel that, like, if I push that customer away because I feel they don't got the right stuff, that's a major insult to them. So I try to talk them through the best I can. Well, you know, maybe we should start here this year, then maybe we upgrade to that, or hey, you know, your chassis is good, but I was just talking to Brad Corporal yesterday, and he's got so-and-so's used one for sale, and maybe you should upgrade. So we just kind of all work together that way, because you want to put that person in good equipment, because it does come back on you. People don't realize that, but if the customer doesn't do well, it's 99% of the time the engine builders fault.
We'll take that another level. For the last couple of years, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from my chassis program or anything, but we were down on it, and it's hard to buy an engine from a guy that's not running good, right? I wasn't doing good, so I mean, we had our guys and stuff, but I was able to give the information to guys and them do good. Then you're going, man, they're beating my ass with the same information I'm giving them. Like, I had to make a change.
Right. And I don't know the facts on your deal, but I know Tanner and I and Jeremy had talked about it before. And I said, man, what the hell happened with Adam? All of a sudden he come out of nowhere. And they're like, well, he just upgraded his chassis. Motor program's still the same, right? And it's the same way with two-wheel drive guys, mini guys, modified tractor guys on my end.
Sure.
You know, we've done some new stuff. You know, Brett Berg, we struggled this year with Brett Berg. We wanted to make more power, and we made more power, and now we just can't get it to ground. And I think he's one of the best modified drivers out there in the country. And man, we're struggling, you know. And so it just goes that way. You know?
And it could be something as simple as a gear ratio. It could be something as simple as anything. It could be anything. Tires. I mean, there's so much that are variables.
You kind of said it too, John. That's good. That's good context. But what do you think's the toughest class? I would argue mini rod is probably right there, equally as tough for different reasons. But if you had to say which of the two is tougher, two-wheel drive and mini rod, which do you think is tougher?
From what perspective is that question?
From your side of it.
Oh, from my side of it, as building the engines or helping the customers. Probably the mini rod. Yeah, I think the mini rod is the toughest. You know, there's the combinations are different. You know, like I said earlier in the show, I think we detune a lot. And in the mini rod class, I think in this last year we've detuned a lot to be successful. There is tracks that, you know, you need all the horsepower and you can lay it down, but there's a lot of them where you can't. I think the mini rod is the tire deal that went on the last year or two. I mean, I know you guys have all struggled with that, and we've had a little bit on the two-wheel drive side too. But I think that's been a challenge, and it's been a challenge to the motor program at the same time. You know, why am I not hooking? Well, you know, you know how it all goes. So.
Oh yeah. Do you think there should be screw-blown mini rods?
I don't want to build a motorsport, but I think it'd be badass to see.
That's very fair. On the topic of the four-wheel drive trucks, and I've heard a couple of four-wheel drive competitors say this, that in all honesty, years ago, the rules should have made a shift towards more blown engines, similar to what you see in a two-wheel drive and a mini rod, simply from the fact of it would put on roughly the same show. And in all honesty now, from a fan standpoint, you think, oh, it's a naturally aspirated engine. It's more affordable. But honestly, that's gone the other way. And these huge cube NA motors are almost selling for more than a blown engine package. Do you agree with any of that?
They are. Oh yeah, they are. Back in my day when we come out of the 90s into 2000s, we lobbied for that big time. I ran more on the state level stuff. I ran some Grand National stuff, and mainly I ran state level stuff in the Northeast and some regional stuff. But we lobbied for it hard because we knew that would be cheaper. And it would be cheaper. It'd be better show for the fans and stuff. And I mean, you got a couple series now that do it. I think that the TNT down there runs it, and Ohio runs the series, the 500 cubic inch deal or whatever. But I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the 4-wheel drives go that way. That would. I'm a huge fan of that. And
Okay.
it'd be more work for us too, right?
Yeah, right, for sure. So
go ahead.
There's another rule in the rule book that says, like one of our engines enabled to be legal has to swing a stock crank. And when the Noonan deal came out, there was some people saying that Chase's engine was illegal because it couldn't swing a stock crank. As an engine builder and with your knowledge, explain the ins and outs and whether or not you think it's legal.
As he exits the chat.
It's perfect timing, honestly. John, answer quick. Chase is gone.
This was another question to end of it. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I think it's based off how it was written. And there was not a 4.9 crankshaft back in that era.
Cadillac and Ford.
Was it in Cadillac and Ford? Yeah.
Yep. That's why Gene Zeltner runs a Cadillac.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess if it was something that was OEM and that's how it's written in the book, I would say it would be legal. Why wouldn't it?
Okay. So Chase's engine is not illegal.
No, but it's got a Chevy crank in it. You got to think about where the thrust bearing is in comparison to where those factory.
It's not a true Hemi deal. Yeah.
Like a Ford is a center thrust. Like so, number 3 journal in a Ford is a center thrust.
So I'm gonna go on record to say that I think that Chase's engine is illegal and that he should be thrown out of the running for the championship this weekend. I mean, I think and I'll be the first one to protest it.
Apparently, if I don't make it to the start line, I ain't gonna make it anyway.
That's right.
Hey, John, I got a question. It's one I ask everybody. It kind of starts summing up what we're trying to do with this podcast. What do you believe pulling needs to do? Like, if you were in charge of pulling, what would you do to make our sport better?
Oh, wow.
It's interesting hearing his perspective of it because he's in the business of it.
Well, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think about a lot of things all the time, and you just kind of threw that at me and caught me off guard to what's on my mind. But I think the big money purse thing is good in some ways and can be bad in other ways. So I'm on the fence with that. Yeah, one of our teams won it, and we're very fortunate of that, and that was cool. But I kind of worry about that a little bit, to whether it's going to drive people off that can't afford it. The direction, that's a tough one because
you should have shotgun, but you should have.
One of your other customers just chimed in. Will Teasley asked EFI. What do you think about that? Would that make it better or worse?
Well, I don't know about the EFI. I mean, we've been lobbying for 2 or 3 years on the coil packs and deals like that. I mean, if you're asking me from an engine builder standpoint, how to make the sport better, and what we're doing, we need to get rid of the ignition. We need to go to the coil packs, maybe fuel tech. I'd love to see us be able to tune with power grids. Things like that, but that's my opinion, and I don't see that happening. We've been lobbying for things for years for some particular reason, and I'm probably going to get in a lot of shit for this, but we're still in the 80s in technology when it comes to electronics.
But with even that coil-over plug ignition and adjusting like the millijoule intensity of the spark, and especially things with a power grid like a slew rate based on, actual GPS mile an hour, throttle position sensor, wheel speed, isn't there a large risk of removing some of the driver factor from that and basically, what we call traction control in the sport, taking away from that?
Yeah, 100%. There's
And-
no question. There's no question there that statement is correct.
And as your opinion too, my opinion, there's no right or wrong, but pulling is a mechanical sport. Adam's even more mechanical than the rest of us because he doesn't use any computers. But
Can't cheat if you don't have a computer.
There's no other sport in the world, motorsport, that I know of that is strictly mechanical. And my personal opinion is I think that's something that's cool. And like the 2-wheel drive class is really cool because there's a lot more goes into it than horsepower.
Yeah,
and just mini rod too. I mean, they're all the same.
The only problem is that the MSD stuff is so garbage these days.
That's where I'm going with it, really, honestly, is I get the mechanical side of it, and I think that is more challenging. I talk with these guys here, in the shop a lot about that. I mean, they can't believe what we do with fuel and stuff like that because we can't, you can't run a power grade, you can't run a 6-shooter.
It's way harder. It's tougher.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, but that's where it comes down to. You're good pullers and you're skilled guys that can figure out how to drive and how to run things and make that combination work. And you guys out there building the fuel systems to do that and things like that. So it's definitely, I just think on the ignition thing, we're not getting better with that. We got to find out some way to.
The quality's awful.
There's one company, and a lot of the stuff they're putting out is not. I mean, if I could count on on all my fingers and toes the amount of coil boxes that shut people's stuff off this year, I mean, I would have done it after the first weekend probably.
What talk about quality control of valves? Well, it's not even talking about ignition. That's freaking 100 times worse.
$1,200 for a coil box that it shuts off at 200 feet on the very first pass.
And then
where's that warranty at?
And then you want to like really have a problem? Like, hey, this doesn't work. Well, I'm sorry, just something you did. Like, there's
you gotta buy another one. Oh well, it wasn't grounded properly.
To give people perspective on that, when we got into the mini rod class, we had a lot of Bruce's 5-engine unlimited, parts sitting around. And obviously, we're like, oh, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to buy new coils, new points boxes, things like that. We still have some of those old points boxes and coils from Bruce's Unlimited that we will run on our mini rods.
That's better shit.
Those are the old faithfuls that we will never effing get rid of, no matter how. Like if somebody says, oh, hey, man, I got a points box and a coil out, can I grab one and I'll replace it for you? Yeah, we'll go grab you that new one in the trailer and you can have that. But as far as this stuff that's literally like 15 years old, you ain't fucking having that. We're keeping that.
There's no exaggeration to this statement. Right above me up here is a big storage area, and it is full. There's a pallet of coils up there that come off these race teams, and they're dated back to 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, or whatever. And if you guys need old coils, there's plenty of them up there. We have a tester here. Those guys load them, and I've been selling quite a few this summer because those guys make 3 passes on a fuel card and they take them off.
Right.
You heard it here. If you need a coil, get a hold of John Card. He'll hook you up with the good old stuff.
There's a ton of the old coils. Unfortunately, the points boxes, there's not a lot of that. They're a little bit different what they got going on, but we don't have them. But unfortunately, yeah,
John, you're gonna have 100 calls tomorrow for coils.
if there's a couple of different parts in an engine, like we can build new cylinder heads and we can build new cranks and valves and all this stuff to the engine. If somebody if there'd be more supercharger rotor manufacturers more than anything and ignition manufacturers, I think it would change the outlook of how the racing stuff goes, because we're all running the same stuff. There's zero competition when it comes to that. Yeah, you got a FIE coil. Wow.
That's it.
There's not
FIE,
a different points
MSD,
box. Yeah, I mean, that's all you got.
Well, that's the other thing that goes back to what we talked about earlier. This ignition shit causes these internal engine failures.
Sure, cutting out.
It puts a lot of stress on them, detonation and stuff, and that. So everybody's like, well, you should be happy. Well, no, I'm not happy. I don't want that blowing up someone's motor. I want that guy to come back at the end of the season, won a bunch of pulls, won a championship, and just wants to freshen it up. I hated that last summer. I mean, that was terrible. It was stressful. It was hard to deal.
You like to get the engine back and hone a half a thou out of the cylinders. Mag the crank and everything's good. You put
some rings, bearings, and a set of rods in it, and head gaskets and go off again.
Yeah. Just kind of go on with it. Just unfortunately, and you see it all summer. You see these guys cutting out and stuff. That crankshaft's going, F
Oh,
you,
man,
buddy.
so
It's just,
hard.
it hates it. I mean, it really does. When things aren't firing, it's harder on the engine than when it is, you know. So
But I had one mini rod deal that the points box had failed on the same mini rod 2 weeks in a row, and we pulled the bearings out of it, and the upper bearing was smashed out 10
sure,
thou.
sure,
Wow.
yeah.
Just from 2 town. Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's just a buffer. The crankshaft, you know, I don't know how much a Hemi crank is now, but they're getting close to $6,000.
$6,800.
I was going to say it's cheap.
$6,800.
Shit, I need to raise my prices. I'm only at $5,450. Shit, guys. I need to raise her up
on the topic of traction control, John. You know, there's always rumors of that in the pits. Do you think stuff like that exists in the world of pulling, or is that just simply a rumor that people speculate about?
I think there's speculation. I think there's been some conversations the last couple of years that there's, you know, some teams cheating, and I honestly don't think that's the case. I just think they figured shit out. They got good equipment. Yeah, it's surprising when you know one guy will go out there and lay down 30 feet, 35 feet on somebody week after week after week, but you know then that kind of goes away. And I honestly don't. I think the teams that are doing really well that are being accused of cheating just figured shit out. But how do I know? I'm not the one policing it, you know, and that comes back to that ignition deal. You know, it would be a lot easier to police that, but it's still going to put the control of it being traction control, and it's going to come down to you're not going to be one guy in your mini rod or one guy in your two-wheel drive or one guy in your modified tractor. It's going to come back to like drag racing, and you're going to have a guy sitting in your pits on a laptop and you know, tuning it that way, setting up your power grid and your, you know, and it just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's for sure the downside, you know, of allowing all those electronic components that, you know, John's got a guy that writes a sweet tune for, you know, a whole power grid setup, and, you know, we got to pay him, you know, $4,000 to come to our trailer at an event, load in his program so we can run it for 2 days and he can take it out of there, you know. And if we want that back and felt it was successful, well, then we got to have somebody come back. Do you feel like that's a lot of the fear of where traction control and electronic components ends in
100%.
the sport of pulling, and that's why people are scared of it?
100%. Well, you look at this drag racing stuff, you know, I got a lot of guys that do alcohol cars, pro mods. We all know Stan and those guys that run that stuff. The money they spend for tuners, the money they spend for those programs to do that. And I don't think it's that elaborate on our side. I don't think it's going to take that. I think a power grid and a laptop and you're going to be fine. And if you can turn a laptop on and you know, scroll through grids, the power grid thing's pretty simple. No one's ever used them. That it's not that scary.
I actually bought one because there was a brief period where they said that they were going to be allowed, and I bought one. I turned it on, and I mean, started messing with this thing. And I went to a rules meeting, and I'm like, "How the hell can we run this?" I'm like, "We can't run this." I'm like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I started talking about what it was all capable of, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't run that."
I also think the sanctioning bodies look at it this way, and this is just my opinion only, and I mean this with respect, the majority of this sport is guys my age or older. And a lot of them struggle turning on computers and using phones and that kind of electronics, laptops, iPads or whatever. And that's the truth. And I think it scares the sport and the sanctioning bodies to do something like that because it's going to drive some of those guys away. And I truly feel that's kind of somehow they're looking at it, I believe.
But didn't you kind of chuckle a little bit when Proline brings out a Pro Charge Timmy and it could hardly get off the starting line because they can't run stuff mechanical?
Because they can't. They couldn't figure it out.
I mean, anybody can. I mean, they've sold thousands of dollars of 481Xs and Hemis and all this stuff.
Millions of dollars. Adam.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're out there just. Here comes the guy. Well, you need to have this transmission and this gear ratio, this. Well, if you don't have this engine, it don't work. And then they take all that technology and said, okay, we're going to go out there and we're going to smoke these guys. but you got to do it mechanically. That thing burned up pistons every time it ran, or it
They're
fell into
lost.
space. It just completely lost because they couldn't operate it mechanically.
Well, like I said, I'm not throwing out names. It's just because I'm, have a relationship with these guys being in the same building. But a lot of the guys that I talk to here, they say it all the time. They compliment us tremendously. They can't imagine how we do what we do. Monday morning, we come back from an event. We'll look at videos and race back data or stuff, and they'll wander in my office, and I'll show them some of the stuff, and they just like puzzled by it. Like we just can't believe that. I made a comment to a couple of my customers that were having issues with motors and stuff, and this is a true statement. These crew chiefs say to me, they're like, the customer doesn't realize that you're putting a motor together to run 8,500 RPMs and pull 60,000 pounds rolling weight on dirt. Let's just say 10 to 16 seconds, depending on the hook. And they're trying to go down the racetrack on 3.8 seconds. And the same loads on that rod, same loads on that crankshaft. And it blows their mind how we do that with no electronics and how we have minimal breakage when everything's right. And they're working on it every round, servicing it every round. And we're lucky if our guys check their Obergs and run their valves,
Those multiple engine guys like, well, we checked these two engines this time, or check these two this time. What? You're not checking them every pass? No, they don't care.
I got guys that pull one plug out of one side of one motor and one plug out of the other one and look at it good and go to the next one. And
and then if they want to check their tune-up, they screw one new plug in the engine.
Yeah, I mean, but that's their call. That's how they that's how they want to do it. Like it comes back to that race pack deal, right? Like you're comfortable with doing it that way. But if you got to answer to me why your tractor is not doing what it's supposed to do, it's very hard for me to try to help you off of you showing me a picture of your spark plugs,
Right. For sure. John, we're coming in at over 2.5 hours. I just had one more question here written down that I wanted to ask. Based on your experience, in the drag racing world and stuff, people often wonder, how would a single top fuel motor do running in a 4-engine tractor class? From a longevity, a horsepower, a competitive standpoint, where would that thing finish?
It'd probably blow up. It'd probably blow up for the chain was tight.
Do you think it should be allowed if somebody wants to try it?
Only if it's a Richardson.
Okay.
or a Billy Beers.
Billy
there
Beers.
you go. The Billy Beers. Hey, just so you know, like Chase, you'll be happy. Look.
Yeah, you got to get down, Adam.
Oh shit, we need a profile at the next show.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some custom Billy Beers shirts out there. Adam, stay in that position. This is a good. So there was some War Wagon shirts, and right there you see a porter pot that is at a 45-degree angle, and the No Practice Podcast characters are in that. Stop one more second, Adam.
How many times you got to do this? I can't do it.
We're showing the fans. Me, Adam, and Tyler in the porter pot, and there's Billy Beers in a Jeep running over us. Flashback to Billy Beers. All right, you can turn around, Adam. The Billy Beers Podcast. His team were kind enough to make those for us. We need to make those available for sale. I've not worn mine yet, but shout out to Billy Beers and Top Fuel Engines and Modifieds, as John said.
They're pretty. I sat in the grandstands at Bowling Green on the starting line, and his team was sitting in front of me, and I saw them shirts, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah. John, you've been awesome. This has been a great show from just a learning perspective, to be honest with you. Fans, the amount of compliments and people that come up to us that just enjoy the stuff that we speak generally on that fans like to know about, from valve malfunctions to EFI to everything we've talked about in this show to fighting chickens. I think that shows people why we are real people. It is a fun sport. I'm going to go back to Adam's question to end. If you could change one thing in pulling from a non-competitive standpoint, what would you change? Just to help the sport grow. Adam, it's Adam's question, but we're not going to let you off the hook without answering it.
Well, I'm not being a kiss ass, but I think you guys have done a great thing with the full pull and the full pull picks. I think that's been really, really important. And I go back to myself as the engine builder, not the guy that can go to the pull every week. That's been a tool to help me help my customers be better. having that live stream platform like that on a state level and a regional level and stuff. So I think that's been killer. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I'm not a politic guy, and things I think might be better, other people don't. And I always feel that I could put myself in a situation where I'm saying the wrong thing. But so I'm going to just kind of leave that one alone and just really, really happy about the full pull deal. I think that, like I said, the live stream and everything they're all doing, all the guys and gals behind that. I think that's real important for the sport. I'd like to see that move over into some other sanctioning bodies. I think that would be helpful, but yeah.
Very cool. Well,
Right
John,
on.
I gotta give you and Adam credit because it was really cool to see two guys that theoretically should maybe hate each other, as we joked about there. That you
The
guys
weird
get
part
along
about that
so
is,
good.
yes, I
and-
don't even know where that came from, but that is kind of that's kind of what people think, right? Like there's people that hate him. There's people that hate me. There's people that love him. There's people that love me. There's two different programs, and man, I have a great relationship with his sister and his brother-in-law. And I mean, if I'm at a pull over the last few years, and I respect his mom and his dad, and always had, but if I'm at a pull, his mother makes a point to run over to me if she sees me walking by and give me a hug. And so it's just, I've always felt there's never been a problem. Do we stop and talk to each other? Maybe we haven't in the past, and I think maybe we should do more of that in the future. But
sure.
Yeah.
No, I think from what people don't understand is, like, even when he purchased the company from Brian, I mean, he's been there's no doubt. Like, me and Brian, we've had some conversations here and there, but I mean, John called me up. He's like, "Hey, Adam, just want you to know," and we've always been that way. He's called me about things. I've called him about things. We've kind of shared some stuff between each other, and we've always been very cordial to each other. There is no hate or disdain between either of us. Is there competition? There was always going to be competition, but
yeah,
that's why we're sitting there. We just said, "You know what, John, you need to come on the podcast." She's like, "I'd love to," and I think it's been great. I wish we probably could take an entire podcast for you, because I think you have enough knowledge and information. You probably have more that people don't know about you that I think that we could still tap into. So there's a lot of knowledge, and the guy, I didn't even know until that we shotgun those beers and stuff that you were even a truck puller. It kind of blew my mind, and we started talking. It's like, oh my God, I had no idea.
A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people think I just kind of wandered into Sassy one day from cleaning the chicken coops and asked to be a parts manager.
I love it. Well, props to you guys, for having that mutual respect, and you can still respect each other competitively.
Sure.
Well done.
It's just like you guys. You go out there and want to kick each other's ass every week, and then you go and drink beer 20 minutes after the polls over.
John, I don't really like these two guys. We just do this because
I told John when we first got in, I said, "Look, there's more than enough room for you to have a business and be successful. There's more than enough room for me to have a business and be successful. There's more than enough room for other people to be in here and be successful. So there's no reason to fight over things. Are guys going to talk? Yeah, they're going to do this. They're going to change. Does it hurt your feelings when they drop your engine and you go up? Absolutely. As well it should. But I've picked up customers from him. He's picked up customers from me. It happens. You know what? Who cares?
It's just part
what makes the world go round. Makes the world go round. So,
Well, John, we'll see you at the Enderly this week. I hope you coming out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be there, man.
Who's going to win the mini rod class? Who's going to win?
Only in the regional. I got the Lacey's in with 2. Joe's in the unlimited. I think that's about it. We didn't really have too good a year in the 2-wheel drive this year. You guys are kind of kicking our ass the last couple of years. So,
hey,
well,
it goes in cycles.
Hey, all I can tell you is you want to have somebody be careful and watch out for your tires.
Yeah, you heard Marvin on the air. Hey, CSC security will be called tomorrow. So
there you go.
John, thanks for joining us. It's been a great podcast. See you in a couple of days.
Cheers, John.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Take care.
Thanks, John.
Good night.
John Card, man, you got to think he's an hour ahead, kind of like you guys are. I'm sitting here. It's 10:15. It's 10:45 for you guys.
Yeah.
So. It's for all those people watching. never turn down a shotgun and drinking beer with people because it may lead to a good night on a Wednesday.
Well, we had already loaded up our stuff. So my buddy Rodney, we had a Chevy Tahoe. We come pulling up there, and we kind of got some people who were like, and then we opened the door. It's like, yeah, everybody's cheering and shit. It was a really good time. We had a hell of a time over there.
Oh yeah,
it's cool. It's this is probably like a what they call it a often used term, but it's really cool about this podcast. Like we just meet people and like you learn more about their story and so forth. And I mean, mad respect for a guy who up and moves to the Midwest. I mean, you can tell it wasn't easy for him just to come to Indianapolis, you know, for his whole life being in the Northeast.
Him and Bob Miner almost did the same thing. I mean, Bob moved from California to Indiana because he realized that's where business is centrally located.
How do you not respect someone that does that? Like that's, I mean, I don't care if you know anything, but someone just up and leaves their roots to come do that. You know,
family, friends, and everything they've ever known.
That's pretty cool. Glad he was on here. So we always say this is going to be short shows. We're coming up on 3 hours.
Ridiculous.
As we said before, this is a big week. Enderle Pull-Off. Adam, all joking aside, pulling for you. I know you're going to give it your all. Just make sure you take the right tire gauge, I guess. Not that you need any advice, but it seems like that was a helpful thing. And I know you'll kick ass. It's gonna be fun to watch here at the end.
We just don't beat ourselves thinking that we can do something that we can't. So
yeah, I'm sure everyone in that category is I can't wait to watch it.
It's a stacked class, just like every one of them is, dude. Like the Enderly is the Enderly. Usually, it's just for bragging rights of this. Now it means even more. So they're doing the right job by doing this. But there's definitely no slouches in any class out there. So it should be a fun, exciting weekend.
Yeah, and as we said on Friday night, there will be a press conference to see the lineup orders. And new to the No Practice podcast, that is the actual pull order right here that you're going to see. So mini rods are going to be the third class of the grandstand side. This year, they are starting at 5 p.m., so we'll be well with plenty of daylight. I don't see a class ending before daylight there, right? They
all should be over. They all should be over by daylight. Yeah.
5 p.m. Eastern time start.
Which on them, that's great. You're going to crown Grand National champions and Enderly champions in front of a stands instead of late at night where everybody's gone. So kudos to them.
And hopefully,
hey, just think, Tyler, hear that positivity coming out?
Yeah, that's good positivity, Adam. Keep that up.
Adam, if we you're going to do your job, and hopefully I can make it to the starting line and hook to the sled. We could have a double championship celebration Saturday night in Urbana.
Great. I guarantee there'll be speakers and alcohol burning and a lot of things.
Lose, right?
If not, I may be the hell out of there.
Yeah. No. So look forward to seeing it. Tyler, what's coming up with you next week or two?
Well, we spent the last 2 days tearing 2 engine parts. And when I say I got to give credit to Farmer Bruce for doing a majority of the work, because as a lot of people know, he's basically retired. And quite often, I'll go over to the shop and, him and I start diving into stuff. Well, Lil Buddy's just been tearing into things. He tore apart the motor that I pulled out of my tractor at Bowling Green from the first day. He got that ripped apart. He got the block stripped down. That thing's ready to go to Brad Anderson. And then I helped him on his tractor some. And then next thing you know, I come home from work the next day. He's got the engine out of his tractor. He's got it on the stand. I'm helping him pull the crank out. We're pulling the block down. So we've got 2 engine blocks stacked up, ready to ship out to Brad Anderson in California. We've got a cylinder head we got to tear down. And it's time to regroup for 2026 season because we got all sorts of shit tore
make
up.
Sure, Bruce.
I heard a little birdie that there's some big changes maybe coming to one of them vehicles.
Defenders.
No, it's more than that. I think so.
More than that?
We got all winter to talk about that though.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you know something I don't.
Oh, you know, dummy.
Make sure they're ready to run by March, Tyler.
Let me know the new fender rule. If you guys are going to change rules and try to outlaw my chassis, for God's sake, don't tell me the rules 10 days before we got to hook somewhere. But, I'm going to get a positivity check if I keep running my mouth. So, gentlemen,
we're only going to let you know if you do the
here's what's so positive.
the Chapel Hill late breaking news. Donald Trump breaking news at Urbana, Ohio. The offenders are allowed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the people have spoken, and there are new rules in the mini rod class. All right, we can't let this go 3 hours, boys. We got to end this.
It's been a good night. Cheers, to y'all. Adam, I'll see you in a couple days. Tyler, be in touch. We'll talk soon, fans.
I'll be watching.
Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.
Thanks.
Cheers.
That's a wrap.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the No Practice Podcast.
Have a good one. Bye.
Stay tuned for the next episode, where we guarantee there still won't be any practice. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.